0861-406-9126. You can also give us a call on that same number. The Premier League fans will be excited to hear that Chelsea beat Fulham by 2-0 yesterday, and Wolverhampton Wanderers, also known as Wolves, went by 2-3 against Everton. That match also took place yesterday. Tottenham Hotspur went by a narrow 1-0 loss against AFC Bournemouth, and that's the match that also took place yesterday. Manchester United managed a victory against Burnley, beating them by 3-2, a 5-goal thriller. The Man U fans, the Red Devils, must be excited with this victory, as the club has been having an uphill when it comes to positive results. Sunderland managed to beat Brentford by 2-1, and Leeds United and Newcastle played to a 0-all draw. Today there's action coming up from 3 p.m. Central African Time. Brighton will be up against Manchester City at 3 p.m. Central African Time. Another match taking place at the same time is Nottingham Forest. The Tricky Trees up against West Ham United, also at 3 p.m. Central African Time. Then at 17:30 it is the big one. Liverpool up against Arsenal. It is the reigning champions up against the Gunners of London. I'm certain most fans are looking forward to this one. Our game of the weekend. Aston Villa will take on Crystal Palace, and this match takes place today at 2000 Central African Time. We will continue to update you on different fixtures taking place across the African continent and globally. There are matches that are also taking place in the Zimbabwean Premier Soccer League. Today we've got Triangle United up against Herentals, and that match is taking place at 3 p.m. Central African Time. Yesterday there was a match between MWOS and Chicken Inn. MWOS winning that match by 2-1. Caps United are up against Kariba at 3 p.m. Central African Time. Also happening at the same time is Kwekwe United up against Manica Diamonds, while Highlanders will take on Yada at 3 p.m. Central African Time. So there are matches that are happening in various parts of the African continent and globally, and we will update you with different matches that are taking place in different parts of the world. If you are a La Liga fan, you will be happy to hear that Celta Vigo will take on Villarreal at 5 p.m. Central African Time, and there's more matches that are taking place today. Real Betis will take on Athletic Club at 1900 Central African Time. Espanyol up against Osasuna at 19:30 Central African Time. Rayo Vallecano up against Barcelona at 21:30 Central African Time. If you missed out on yesterday's action, Alaves managed a 1-all draw against Atletico Madrid, and Oviedo beat Real Sociedad by 1-0, while Girona went down to Sevilla by 2-0, and Real Madrid had a good day on the pitch, beating Mallorca by 2-1. This is Africa at Play. Asteleli Siashaya. Please do get in touch with us on our different social media platforms. On Instagram and X is at Channel Africa 1, and on Facebook the name of our station, Channel Africa. Should you miss out on any of our exciting conversations, worry not, do make time to visit our Channel Africa website. Click on programs and search for Africa at Play. At the bottom right screen of Africa at Play, you will be able to access those conversations. By all means, you can listen to them at your time of leisure. 14:08 Central African Time. We take a short break. When we come back, we're going to celebrate women in sport as we wrap up the special month of women, the month of August. The G-Sport Awards were on fire, and we say big ups to all those that were given the awards for their awesome work under the umbrella of sport in South Africa in women in sport. And we will continue to celebrate even those that didn't get the awards, because their hard work does not go unnoticed.
Hi there. Do you want to elevate your business and give it a voice in South Africa and Africa as a whole? Well, in that case, let Channel Africa make this a possibility. Channel Africa is willing to advertise your business for as little as 30,000 rands or $1,719.18. To get access to these great rates, send all requests to mokoenata@SABC. That's MOKOENATA@SABC. Channel Africa, the perspective. Africa at Play with Neto and Neto Chemane.
14:09 Central African Time. If you have just joined us, a warm welcome to Africa at Play, and thank you for taking the best decision ever. My name is Neto Chemane. We are together until 5 p.m. Central African Time. Fireworks all the way at the G-Sport Awards, and we say big ups to all the ladies in sport, the Shiros that have done well, representing not just themselves and their families, but the entire South African country and the African continent very well, because what happens in South Africa catches fire across the African continent. We now welcome to Africa at Play an amazing lady who has devoted her life to the world of sport, Mpumi Manyisi, who is a professional media practitioner, a multi-award winning digital and broadcast journalist who has been serving in the South African media industry since 2016, who has been awarded an exciting title or an exciting award, which is Woman in Print of the Year at the G-Sport Awards. Mpumi, good afternoon and a warm welcome to Africa at Play.
Good afternoon, my brother Neto. It's good to be speaking to you this afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much for joining us. I remember the last time we spoke very lengthy about all things the world of sport and the politics that comes with it. But today is a day of celebration. Congratulations on your hard work. You see, there's never a reason to despair.
100%. I said it yesterday in my acceptance speech that was not planned, because I didn't expect to win, that I dedicated to my mom. The award I dedicated to my mom, because there were so many times where I wanted to give up, and just leave this industry and stop being a journal and most probably pursue something else. But you'd come back and say, you love this thing. I don't know anything that you do better than this. So having people like that in your corner that will always remind you to go back. Yes, get mad if you're mad, throw your tantrums once and forever. But once that is done, collect yourself towards yourself and go back to the drawing board and do what you love the most.
Exciting indeed, and no one said the road will be easy. Talking about the wideness of the road and the challenges that comes with the road. Sometimes you go through curves, you go through potholes, you go through humps. There's just a lot on the road. What are some of the challenges that women face in the field of sports journalism?
There's so many challenges, Neto. I know some of them you're aware of them. It's just that you want to inform your listeners. That's because you work with us in a daily, so you get to see literally with your eyes in terms of what is it that we are literally faced with all the time. First of all, it becomes very tough to credit a woman as a credible source, and I don't know what informs that. I'll make an example. If we've got two interns that are coming and want to be sports broadcasters or sports journalists, we have a boy intern and we've got a girl intern. A boy intern will be trusted more than a girl intern. If we've got a post where we're looking for a sports journalist or a sports broadcaster, a male broadcaster will be trusted more even before they speak, even before they sell themselves, because there's this assumption that guys know and understand sports better. So for us, you constantly have to prove yourself, that you know what you're talking about, that you know that you're not sucking what you're doing, and it's a blessing and a curse. A curse in the sense that it takes a while for us to break in because we constantly have to prove ourselves. But it's a blessing because it leaves us in a position where we thoroughly have to do the job. So we can't miss anything. Our puzzles have to fit because we are women. So those are some of the challenges that we face.
And these are challenges, Mpumi, that one wishes that people could just be broad-minded in understanding that anything that a man can do, a woman can do better. And it's not because I like women that way, but it's because women have proven numerous times that they are capable of this. They will go on a pregnancy leave for whatever number of months and carry that child for 9 months, come back, bounce back, and continue with life like nothing happened. So I will say big ups to women and happy Women's Month as we wrap up this month. You also wrote a story about the Springbok women who are aiming to keep the World Cup momentum against Italy. And this goes to show one evening you receive an award, a morning later it's back to business. Tell us more about the Springbok women.
Yeah, 100%. This is the fifth World Cup for the Springbok women. I'm excited for them. I mean, we when you think of rugby and women's rugby in SA, we've been struggling for a longest time until we started catching what's happening. If you've seen, now we're African champions back to back. We won the title 3 times in a row. Now we have to prove ourselves on world stages in terms of how far we can go. I like how they started the tournament, that 66 win against Brazil. It was something because they're coming in as underdogs, so to speak. Because people think women box are equivalent to men box. No, there's a huge gap between the two in terms of accolades, in terms of what the two teams have achieved. So the women box are basically building, in a building phase, and this tournament is there just to test not only the players, but to also test the technical team, because we've got also, former players that are coming in, and we've got women as well that are coming in the technical setup for the first time ever. It has been a male-dominated space, and just to see that South African rugby is just allowing that motion, it looks brilliant, not only outside the pitch, but on the pitch as well. It goes to show that the decisions that we make behind the scenes will always impact the players on the pitch. We saw it in their opening match, and today they are playing Italy. It's not going to be an easy match, but I like what Coach Zine said. She said it's all about positive mentality, and I hope and believe that they maintain that when they face Italy today. But more than anything, as South Africans, we are backing them, and as South Africans, we are proud to see the strides that have been made to make sure that now rugby one day, it becomes a professional sport for women. But where do we start? We start in these championships, making sure that we excel in them.
If you have just joined us, we are celebrating Women's Month. This is the last day as we close the curtain. It does not imply that from tomorrow onwards we shouldn't celebrate women. And to continue celebrating these women in sport, we are talking to Mpumi Manyisi, who is a professional media practitioner, a multi-award winning digital and broadcast journalist who has been serving in the South African media space since 2016. She also worked for Soweto TV and currently with SABC Sport, and she was just updating us about the latest in terms of the stories that she's been covering, and the recent one is about the Springbok women, talking about the momentum to keep in the World Cup. And Mpumi, it is a busy schedule. I mean, the women Proteas are also in camp preparing for the upcoming World Cup.
100%. I was speaking to the CEO, who is the reigning champion of the South African Sports Awards as the administrator of the year. And we were speaking about the growth of the women's game, and him stating that he's proud that they are one of the leading federations when it comes to women in sports empowerment. They're the first federation to put together a program, a system that speaks to equal pay for each match for both men and women, right? And as you can see how it reflects on the Proteas women, and you can see their performances, in the T20, reaching the finals, reaching the semi-finals. We only have that one hurdle of winning the championship. And this time around, we just want to see what they can do in India come the 30th of September when the tournament starts.
That's the voice of Mpumi Manyisi, who we are celebrating as a woman in sport. Mpumi, please just stay on the line. We take a short break. When we come back, we'll wrap up our conversation with an amazing woman journalist, Mpumi Manyisi, who continues to broaden her spectrum in making certain that she leaves a remarkable footprint. This is Africa at Play. As Delil Siashai.
AUSISA, the Association of Water and Sanitation Institution of South Africa, is a platform uniting Africa's water professionals. This November, Africa leads the conversation on water and sanitation. Join global and African leaders at the AUSISA Africa and Global South Dialogue 2025 from the 9th till the 12th of November at the Emperor's Palace, Johannesburg. From policy innovation, this is where action meets collaboration for a water-secure future. Register today at ausisa-watersan-dialogue.org or follow at AUSISA on social media. AUSISA, working together for sustainable water and sanitation security in Africa.
Nkhanza zokhudza amuna ndi azimayi kapena kuti gender-based violence GBV zikuwononga miyoyo komanso kuphwasula midzi. Zikuchitika m'manyumba, m'masukulu, malo ogwirira ntchito ndipo kwambiri mwakachetechete, koma sizikuyenera kupitirira. Mukazimva yankhulani. Ngati mwakhuzidwa, funani chithandizo, chifukwa kusachita chilichonse sikuthandiza. Mverani kuma wireless onse 14 a SABC kuchokera lachitatu pa 23 mwezi uno wa Julai kuti mumve zokambirana, malangizo, masewero, zionetsero za maphunziro ndi mafunso okhuza nkhanza za amuna ndi azimayi ndi akatswiri, anthu opulumuka ku nkhanzazi, okhazikitsa lamulo komanso dziko lonse lokhuzidwa ndi nkhanzazi. Zonsezi pa wireless yomwe mumayikonda ya SABC. Imbirani pa nambala 0800 428 428 kuti munene za nkhanzazi kapena kupeza chithandizo. Nkhanza zokhuza amuna ndi azimayi zimatha ndi inu. Uthenga ukufikani kuchokera ku SABC.
From football fields to finish lines,
Eliud Kipchoge storms into the history books.
Neto Chemane brings you sports on Africa at Play.
14:22 Central African Time. If you have just joined us, a very warm welcome to Africa at Play. We are wrapping up a conversation in celebration of women in sport with Mpumi Manyisi, who got awarded as the Woman in Print of the Year at the G-Sport Awards. And this is a lady who is a professional media practitioner, a multi-award winning digital and broadcast journalist who has been serving in the South African media industry since 2016. Mpumi, as we wrap up our celebration, you also served at Soweto TV. How was life there?
Oh, life was beautiful at Neto TV. You know what? So I always say that I wish community stations for each and every person that wants to get into the industry. Because in community stations, you will, if you want, for instance, if you are a presenter, you have to learn to produce your own show. You'll have to learn to be your own PA. You'll have to learn to be your own researcher. You'll have to learn to be your own driver sometimes. And all of that in between. Learn to be your own editor, because you'll have to sit hand in hand with the editor and start cutting the inputs and all of that stuff. What does that do? It sharpens you and gives you a broader understanding or a broader picture of what needs to be done to either put together a show or put together an insert. You don't just rock up and read a teleprompter and then you're gone. You know, you come in, you look at the auto cues, you read, gone. No, at community stations, you are within the work. Every process, you are there. You know, it's early mornings, it's late nights, every day consistently, right? And that teaches you that when you get into mainstream, you learn to be diligent. You learn to be very diligent. And then it becomes even easier because you get into the mainstream and then you start getting paid for the work that you're not getting paid for at community stations. You know what I mean? So yeah, life at Soweto TV taught me a lot. I've worked as a producer at Soweto TV at one time. I've done entertainment, produced for Nimrod Benkosi. I executive produced the Dr. Khumalo sports show and football show in particular. And that was also amazing. So I've been a production manager. I've been a production assistant there. I've been a producer and I've been an executive producer. So it was really good. I needed that pathway for me.
Interesting indeed. And before we say goodbye to you, did you manage to rub shoulders with the legendary sport broadcaster, Madam Cynthia Chaka?
Oh yes, I love her to bits. Oh, I love her to bits. Sports broadcaster extraordinaire.
Wow.
You know, when I see her, I say that because if it wasn't for Cynthia Chaka, I wouldn't be having this conversation with you right now. Those are the people that broke barriers and fought, you know, to be in the space and their recognition and their space out of working hard, not out of doing weird things that we see these days, that people start doing things and then next thing they say must the following day. These are the people that really put in the work for us to be where we are. I will forever acknowledge a woman like that in the industry.
And if she's listening to this conversation, what would you like to say to her?
If she's listening, I love her. I absolutely adore her. I love her work. I remember her when I was still young and I had an interest in sport. I remember her vividly working for SABC, and I was thinking, this woman is so phenomenal, and one day, someday, our paths would cross. And I've seen her at a couple of G-Sport events, very level-headed. She's poised, man. She's got this demeanor, you know. I was telling a friend of mine yesterday when I came back home, I was at Cynthia Chaka. There's something about her, man. Her presence is just something.
Stay on the line. Let's see if I can perform magic. Cynthia Chaka, known for her work as a social activist and as the first black female sport broadcaster, having started broadcasting sport in 1995. I was only 15 years that year. Hosting Laduma, I remember Laduma vividly because I grew up loving sport. Basketball, boxing, swimming, athletics, rugby, and cricket. And of course, it's not the end of that list. Madam Chaka, good afternoon and welcome to Africa at Play.
Good afternoon. Wow. I love Mpumi so much. You know, the feeling is mutual. I heard what she said, and I am so honored to have inspired people like Mpumi because her work speaks volumes. I mean, she's done tremendous work, and she's passionate, and she is going for what is close to her heart and always just putting women in sport out there. So I'm so honored to have had a hand in her coming into broadcasting, in her wanting to excel. So Mpumi, pretty girl, I mean, I told you last night, and I'm still saying it again, the sky is definitely no limit for you. You are doing a great job, and I'm looking forward to host you in my podcast so that we can talk about the issues that are happening in women in sports as we advocate for equity and equality in sport.
Wow,
Thank
interesting.
you so much. Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to that interview. And it's so nice to be in the space of a person that you admire and adore so much and get to engage with them and also feed from them. So I can't wait for that day.
Mpumi, thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us on Africa at Play. Have a good afternoon further.
Thank you so much for having me. Bye, Neto.
Cheers. 14:29 Central African Time. Let's officially welcome Madam Cynthia Chaka to the conversation on Africa at Play. Madam Chaka, happy Women's Month, although it's the last day. But earlier on, speaking to Mpumi, I said just because it's the last day of August shouldn't limit our minds to not celebrating women. Women's Month should be every month from Jan to December.
It should definitely be every day, and thank you so much. I'm so looking forward to be engaging with you and talking to people in Africa at Play. It's an awesome honor to be talking to the continent that where life started, where everything started, where the riches of this world are in this continent. So I'm really, really looking forward to this conversation. And of course, every day should be Women's Month because there are more women in the world than men. And therefore, and besides that, women are the ones who bring everybody on this earth. Even Jesus Christ was brought on this earth by a woman. So therefore, the honor that women should be getting in the world should be an everyday honor, respect, and making sure that, women are held in the highest regard. So thank you so much for having me.
Very true indeed. I fully concur with you with no objection. G-Sport Hall of Fame recipient. Talk to us about this G-Sport Hall of Fame.
Wow. I don't know where to start, but let me try. G-Sport Hall of Fame is such a wonderful platform. First of all, G-Sport for Girls as a platform is a wonderful platform that honors women in sports. The ones that are coming up, the ones that are there, and the ones who've done their bit and now they are doing other things in their life. So, for example, the G-Sport Hall of Famer normally or has honored in the past, athletes, administrators who has retired. But Ms. Kes Naidoo and Mr. Rake Meyering, the founders of G-Sport for Girls, have decided to include women who started in the journey of women in sport and are still within, the sector. So that is what the G-Sport Hall of Fame is about, to honor those who've paved the way, to honor those who've definitely given their all in sport, but have not been honored, or some have been honored. I think of Penny Haynes, for example, the very first recipient of our Hall of Fame. She has been honored before in the sport awards in South Africa, but she was the befitting Hall of Famer. We talk about Desiree Ellis, the coach of Banyana Banyana. She was honored in the sport awards. She was also honored as a Hall of Famer. Then you talk about people like Vicky Masuku, for example, who have never been honored. But Vicky Masuku is the very first radio broadcaster. She has done cricket, football, rugby, and so forth. And she's definitely known by the famous, one of the sporting moments in South Africa in cricket, the 4:38 game, South Africa versus Australia in 2006. She broadcasted in that. But people do not know her because Mamveki, when she started, I found her at the SABC. And when she started, there was no social media. And when she retired, I don't think she was involved in social media. And therefore, when you Google and you want to know the first female black broadcaster on radio, other names pop up. And I do not blame, the young people when they do not know about her, because we have not done a good job of honoring those who come before us. I mean, I also talk of Linda Kholashe, who was in print in the category that Mpumi won. Linda Kholashe was the first African black female who was a print journal. And we used to meet, in the events that we were reporting on, and we used to talk about the struggles of women in sport, how we have to fight for a place on the table, how we have to work 3 times harder than our men counterparts to prove that we belong in the sports sector. And nobody really knows about Linda Kholashe. I have never seen Linda Kholashe being honored. I would love one day for Linda Kholashe to be honored while she's still alive, because what is said about people in sport, they get the honor when they are dead. And you see everybody clamoring to try and pay for their funerals. And yet when these people were alive, we did not pay value to them that they would appreciate when they're still alive. I was very happy yesterday to be honored while I'm still alive to say, Cynthia, we recognize the work that you've done. Cynthia, you are the person who paved for black ladies to come into sport broadcasting, because you must remember when I came on, there were Caucasian female sport presenters, because these opportunities were available to them. And I was the very first one to come on TV and broadcast sport in South Africa, and I dare say in Africa as well, because when I did research myself, I could only see the women in America who were there, but I did not see anybody in Africa. So it was a difficult journey, but I'm glad that today, 30 years later, it has been recognized. It really makes me feel proud about the work that I've done and the passion that I've poured in, and also the advice and encouragement and support that I've been able to give to the up-and-coming young ladies and young men, because I must say right now that also many people who are broadcasters of sport, men, have said, Cynthia, you inspired us. We saw you. You were young. You were black, we were female, and we knew we can also do it. So I am very grateful to God for using me as a tool, as a catalyst to change people's lives.
It is an incredible story indeed. We are talking to the legendary sport broadcaster Cynthia Chaka, who has been at it for a number of years, kicking off her career around the mid-90s. Mam Chaka, there's a picture of you at Henley Building at the SABC, of you and Lindane Benza when you were still a young lady and Lindane was fairly a young man himself. Do you remember that picture? Because it's still there, and every time I see it, I'm like, what a legacy.
I remember that picture very, very well. And it just proves that, sometimes we do something, we're not aware of what we're doing. Hence, Maya Angelou always used to remind people and remind us, because, her words are still living, that you must always make sure you are present at every moment, because you do not know how you talk to people, how you treat people, how you make them feel will change the trajectory of their lives and how they see you. So to see that picture standing there, Lindane Benza was a fairly young man. I used to tease him. I used to say to him, why are you not at school? And with his chubby little beautiful face, handsome face, because, a man is still also beautiful. He used to laugh. Lindane was such a beautiful soul. And the picture is still there. SABC, for me, it is where it started. SABC has molded me to be who I am today. Simon Makasela is the one who gave me that opportunity to transition from being an athlete to be a sport presenter, because he saw me at the SABC corridors and he says, Champ, what are you doing here? And I turned around and I thought, who knows me? Because now if this person is calling me Champ, they know I'm an athlete. And then it was Simon Makasela who was the producer, one of the executive producers of SABC Sport at the time. It was called Top Sport. And then I told him, I said, oh, no, I'm a TV presenter, because at that time I was presenting a Reading's essay, which was an entertainment show every Saturday at 6. And he said to me, there is no way that a sport champion, a champion athlete is now going to present a music show. Nothing wrong about a music show, but he saw value in me. He saw the value that I could bring to South Africa. And then he said to me, Pep, I'm happy that you're already on TV. My work is already half done. All I need to do is to bring over for you to present sport. That was 30 years ago. And therefore, it's 3 decades that I've been in sport. So, and I'm grateful to Simon Makasela, who saw that, I do have talent and I've got something to share with South Africa, with Africa as well. And I would not be where I am. You would not be talking to me now if it was not for God, who spoke through Simon Makasela and giving me the platform, which is such a beautiful platform of SABC and SABC Sport.
Big ups to the legendary Simon Makasela. I remember him vividly when I joined SABC Sport in 2008 during the Beijing Olympics. He was one of the executive producers and a humble man that was willing to always empower and to share his knowledge with the young ones. And I always say an educated man is the man who shares their knowledge, not the ones that brags about their certificates. We've got the legendary Cynthia Chaka on the line. We take a short break. Our conversation continues with the legendary first black sports broadcaster Cynthia Chaka, who is talking to us on Africa at Play as Delil Siashai.
Hi there. Do you want to elevate your business and give a voice in South Africa and Africa as a whole? Well, in that case, let Channel Africa make this a possibility. Channel Africa is willing to advertise your business for as little as 30,000 rands or $1,719.18. To get access to these great rates, send all requests to mukwenata@SABC. That's MOKOENATA@SABC. Channel Africa, the African perspective. What are the sports legends up to? Let's find out from our legend of the day on Africa at Play with Neto Chemane.
14:40 Central African Time. If you have just joined us, a warm welcome to Africa at Play. We are live every Saturday and Sunday from 2 to 5 p.m. Central African Time. And a warm welcome to those that have just joined us. We still have the legendary Cynthia Chaka talking to us about all things of the world of sport, who has been awarded at the G-Sport Awards Hall of Fame. And we say big ups to the instigators of the G-Sport Awards, as Mam Chaka was also talking about lack of celebrating legends and those that have done well while they're still alive, and only when they are no more people remember us. And that, for me, is a virus that needs to be tackled aggressively. Mam Chaka, let's also talk about the journey you've had. 3 decades is not a child's play. When you spoke about the 3 decades, I started thinking that you started doing what you are doing when the Boks won their first Rugby World Cup in 1995, and when we celebrate 3 decades that they are still standing and they are the 4-time world champions, we must also celebrate that after 3 decades you are still standing and you even have a podcast.
So it's really been an awesome journey. When I look back, it feels like it was only yesterday. And yes, I had just started at the SABC, still green behind the ears. The only thing I had was my passion, knowledge, and love for sport. And I knew that I needed to put my best, because remember, at the time when I joined, I was not even aware of the history that I was making. It was about doing what I love, doing what I'm passionate about, but also helping my family, to put the bread on the table for my mom, for my family, and for my extended family. And therefore, when I started, for me, it was such an awesome feeling. Working with the greats, you would remember Trevor Quirk, Martin Locke, and I used to be so scared when it's going to be Saturday and Sunday. I must share the studio with those greats, because you just did not know. We had just come out of apartheid, and you did not know if these older white people, they will say something that will trip you on air, and you will be embarrassed, and you will lose, your job. Because one of the things that used to happen when you come and you want to broadcast sport at the SABC, they will make you pronounce the Russian tennis players' names, because if you remember back in the day, tennis, Wimbledon was live on SABC3 whenever Wimbledon was on, and therefore this tennis, it was sort of like an elitist sport. And because most of the champions at the time winning the Grand Slams were, Russian names, they would make you pronounce these Russian names. And when you did not know how to pronounce these Russian names, they would look at you as if, what do you know about sport? And I first saw my social activism at that stage, because then I would argue with them and say, well, can you please pronounce Zitulele Singwe? Zitulele Singwe was South Africa's greatest half marathoner and marathon runner. And they could not pronounce Singwe. And then I would say, well, would you then say you also do not know anything about sport? And then they realized, the foolishness of them wanting us to not Martin Locke and Trevor per se, but of the system around them wanting us to pronounce these Russian names when they could not pronounce Zetulele Sengwe, who was a South African, by the way, and he's been running. I grew up watching him on TV, and I never knew that I will meet with him and share a studio with him. It was the threesome, Zetulele Sengwe, Xolile Yawa, and Neto Chemane, if you remember. Those three, whenever marathon was up, it was those three legends, So it was a difficult time, but I told myself that I would just put my head down. It made me research. It made me know what was going on in all sporting codes that entire week as I prepare for Saturday and Sunday. Because if they asked me about anything, I needed to be on the board, ready to answer, ready to tell South Africa what is happening. So it made me stay on my toes. And it made me excel in whatever I was doing. And it forced me to research, no matter what was going on in my life at that time. And it made me who I am today. So it was an awesome moment. And of course, as a woman, I had to fight some battles. One battle that comes to mind, for example, is that I was working towards us I was part of the team working towards South Africa getting the Soccer World Cup. And I was going around the country doing all kinds of stories, the road to 2010. And now when it was time for a sport presenter to go to Zurich and to announce who will be the host of the 2010 Soccer World Cup, and we had gotten the wind that this time around we'll definitely get it. If you remember, we did not get it for 2006 because of Charles Dempsey. And of course, we were also told then that, no, we got it. And that's when I cried, because I was thinking about all the effort, all the work. And for me, I thought, what does Africa have to do to show the Western world that we are capable of hosting sport events? We are capable of doing the things that they can do. So for me, I knew then that I'm a social activist. So fast forward. Now, they don't want me to go. Rob Rogers, the producer, I don't know, I hope you remember him. He wants to take Robert, yes, he wants to take Robert Marawa. I said no. I fought. I went to Mbuzo Mbebe. I said, I have been working on this Soccer World Cup. And now, when we know we're getting, it is the ultimate stage. Everybody in the world is watching. You want to leave me behind and take a male who has not been doing the work? And Mbuzo says, no, it's not going to happen. So Mbuzo sends me to Zurich. The rest is history. I did a sterling job. And me, I needed to go then. I said to Rob Rogers, you see? Because then he said, oh, wow, Cynthia, you did a great job. And I said, but you did not want me here. Because I'm like that. I'm sorry, Neto. I'm like that. I'm like, no, you must know. I'm a straight talker, right? And I don't hold any grudges. Once I say what I want to say, I move on. But I felt, no, I needed to tell him. Because I knew that, this is a different struggle, right? It's not personal, but it's something that needs to be done and said. So I said to Rob Rogers, but you did not want me here. Says, oh, well, I did not know. I knew Robert, because I work with him. I said, but you know that I'm the one who's been working on this project all this while. And how are you going to know what I'm capable to do if you do not give me an opportunity? The rest is history. So I had to fight battles. I had to struggle. But what was most important at all times, I needed to be excellent. I needed to make sure that I am excellent for myself, for my community, for women, and for South Africans as well. So that was at the back of my mind all the time. So whenever I stepped out to do my broadcast, I knew that I am as good as my last broadcast, and that kept me going. It's been a wonderful journey, I must say, and it has really rewarded my life. Really rewarded my family's life, because through the work that I did at the SABC, I was able to as I said, take good care of my family. So it's been a wonderful journey. I would not change it. If given the same opportunity, I will do it over and over and over and over again.
More than a wonderful journey, and we must say that big ups to a good leader in Mvuzo, and I would like to say may his soul rest in peace, because he was the head of SABC Sport and done wonders at the department. From the days of Top Sport to the days of SABC Sport, Cynthia Chaka is still standing. Yeah. Let's talk about your podcast. How did you get there?
Okay, before we get there, I just want to echo what you've just said about Mvuzo. And if you remember, all these years working at SABC Sport, we would get only 1 year contract. But when Mvuzo arrived, we got the 3-year contract, because he said, how do you expect people to plan about their lives if they only have a 1 year contract? You can't buy a house, you can't buy a car, you can't do anything, you can't commit yourself to any long investment, because you do not know come March. At the SABC, January, February, March, we're all shaking because you do not know if you're going to get a job. So Mvuzo, may his soul rest in peace, did a lot for us when he came. It was so unfortunate that his stay at the SABC Sport was very short-lived. But that little time that he was at the SABC, he really changed many people's lives, many presenters, producers, production assistants, everybody's life at the SABC Sport. So we are really, really grateful to him and his leadership.
Great leader
and
indeed.
Now, and now coming back to my podcast, the reason I decided to have a podcast, if you remember, I had in 2015, I launched a show called Women in Sports on Super Sport. And this is after years of me trying to get South Africa and corporate to support me, to shine the spotlight on the issues that women in sport are faced with on the daily. I knew this because these were the struggles I was going through. But when I finished my third qualification, and this one was gender studies, honors in gender studies, it then dawned on me. Then I was able to articulate exactly what was going on, in women in sport. And I must hasten to say, what's happening in sport, it is definitely a microcosm of what's happening in society, because women in society are really getting their real deal. But after starting gender studies and obtaining an honors degree there, it then made me able to articulate. And then I said, I need to have a show that is really going to focus on women in sport and put a spotlight on the issues that are faced with women on the daily. And one of the reasons for me to do that was my heart breaking when I realized that Banyana back in the day then, they were only getting 500 Rand per game when they play. And that 500 Rand, it was taxed. And I knew that their case was with the Gender Commission. And nobody was doing anything about it. I said, you know what, this show must be on air. I pitched it with SABC, did not take ground, and then I went to SuperSport. They saw the idea, they put it on air. We worked on the show. And then it was towards then we were able to shine the spotlight on the issues. But then it was closer to COVID. And we lost the sponsorship then because SAB was bought by A&Bev. And they did not want to be involved in women in sport at that time. And I then decided, you know what, COVID anyway, let's lie down, we'll come back. Come back after COVID, I got a job, because I must pay my bills now. I'm no longer on TV. I got a job. And during that time, I wanted to come back, on sport, TV sport. And I struggled to get sponsorship again because when I wanted to come back, I did not want to come back in my old portfolio where I was a broadcaster. I really just wanted to focus on women's issues. And I could not get support this time because AB and Bev had told us, no, we're not interested in women in sport. So I went to other people, no support. And then I've decided, let me do a podcast because in the podcast, it's free. It's on YouTube. You can get it wherever you get your podcast. And it is important. Again, Banyana is in the center of my focus again. We've just seen how they went to WAFCON to defend their African title. And yet 2 tournaments before, they were not paid. I did not know this because the players are scared to speak up because they want to be in the team. Once you open your mouth, you'll be chucked out of the team. So it told me that the issues that I started to talk about and bring to the fore of South Africa and Africa back in 2015, they are still not resolved. And what broke my heart was to hear one of the players who said, I am hanging my boots because we are getting a raw deal in Banyana, and it's worse because we thought the CEO of Banyana, because 1, she's a former player of Banyana, 2, she's a woman, she would understand what we are going through. And it was difficult in the camp for us. I then decided, Neto, no. It looks like the issues of women in sport are still not resolved. So that's why I've decided to come back. But also, every time people stop me, people call me, people send me WhatsApp, and people say on social media, Cynthia, you need to come back in sport. Cynthia, you need to come back in sport. Because I'm still passionate about sport. And I decided, you know what, maybe this is my path. Maybe I did not know that this is my path for me to be used as a catalyst to change the narrative of women in sport in South Africa, in Africa, because we see the world moving towards honoring and recognizing the value that women bring. And we see some countries already giving men and women the same paycheck. And I would like to see South Africa getting there sooner than later. And I would like each and every woman who is representing South Africa on a national stage, international stage, getting the recognition she deserves, getting paid for the work that she puts in so that she does not have to go and get work to supplement her living. Because as women in sports, we do not get to participate fully in the economy of sport. Women in sport, we do not get to get bursaries to study university. Nobody's clamoring around trying to give us sport bursaries at universities. Nobody's clamoring around trying to get us to come and be part of their companies. I mean, somebody just comes to mind is the player, the captain of the 1995 winning rugby, Pienaar.
Francois Pienaar,
After he left that, yes, he was getting all work offers from corporate South Africa, and we know he's very much involved in F&B now. I mean, that's his retirement. Simply because he played sport, simply because he represented South Africa in the highest level and won a World Cup. And that's exactly what used to happen back in the day. If you were a Springbok, they never cared to know what sporting code are you in, because everybody at that time was called a Springbok. They would just ask, what kind of a Springbok are you? Then you will have to say, I'm an athletic Springbok, or I'm a whatever Springbok. But you used to get the honor. You used to get, the feeling that I've done something for my country. And men are still getting that, and women are not getting that. And that is why I've decided I need to get back there. Hopefully, I will be adding a voice to the many voices who are now talking about equity and equality. And I'm saying we need to use equity to achieve equality, because we cannot achieve equality if we first do not put the building blocks, which is equity, building blocks for us to achieve equality. So that is the reason I'm going back. I'm having this podcast because I, again, have been talking to your mainstream media saying, okay, hey, man, I'd like to bring this show back on air. Nobody's interested. And I'm like, you know what? Let me just do it on my own. And I've got my own podcast called Chatting to Chaga. I am grateful, actually, because now I can really call a spade a spade. I will not be calling it a gardening tool. If I feel SAFA is doing Banyana Banyana wrong, if I feel the CEO is doing Banyana Banyana wrong, I will be able to call it a spade and not say it's a garden tool. And I will get South Africa to be behind me and not worry that, after the show, I'll be called in some boss's office. And I'm going to be told, why did you say it like that? Oh, we've got relationships with SAFA. Why are you talking like that about SAFA? No, I'm glad. It's hard because, when you've got a podcast, you're not guaranteed a check. Hopefully people will love the content. Hopefully they will subscribe. Hopefully they will get the message. And South Africa will start to get behind women in sport and for them to be given what they deserve. There is no way in this day and age we've got Springbok women. Some of them, they are now in the World Cup, but some of them stay in shacks today. No Springbok men stay in a shack. Not at all. They all are living a wonderful quality of life. So why cannot corporate support women as they support men? Why can they not make sure that the women's rugby is also a place where women can be given contracts by the different franchises for them to earn a quality of life? Because you must remember, it does not start with the national team. The national team is the top. But the different franchises must have a women's team. They must pay those women the same money that they pay to the guys. That is how the women will be able to live a good quality of life, because we know you only have so many matches for the national team. You are not playing for the national team weekend in, weekend out. But at the professional level, the first professional level in the country, that's where we need to make a change. And therefore, that's what I want to do. And I know it's not going to be easy. We are starting. We're going to start slow. We're going to start new. But I know at the end of the day, we will get support, because you do not want your sister Neto not to be recognized for what she does. You do not want your let's say your brother's wife or your aunt or whatever I would be to you, whatever the Springbok rugby lady would be to you. You do not want them to be not recognized. You do not want your daughter not to be recognized for the kind of work that she does. So I know that there are men and women out there who will support us, while we need to also persuade women who are in places of authority and power who are not coming on board. We're going to have to ask them to support us. We're going to have to persuade them to see the value so that everybody benefits. Because you must remember, when you empower a woman, you empower a nation, you empower her community, and that leads to social cohesion. Social cohesion can be used to fight so many ills in society, including GBV, that is so rife, and femicide, that is so rife in South Africa. We see little boys beating a young girl in a video that went viral in a school bus. Those young boys, if they saw that little girl as they are equal in the field of play, in soccer, in sport, they were not going to do what they did. So we really need to take sport seriously as a tool to change people's lives, as also as an equalizer. So that is what I want the podcast to achieve. That is why we'll be launching soon, Chatting to Chaka, and I hope everybody who's listening will go out and subscribe for us so that we can be able to keep the message going until everything is done right in South Africa and in Africa. Because, as I said, the rest of the countries in the global north, they have and they are starting to take women's sport seriously, and they are making sure that those women are being paid what they deserve. Africa needs to follow.
In 2025, the playing field for women and men is still uneven, especially on the African continent. And these are some of the facts that Cynthia Chaka tabled on our conversation right here on Africa at Play. Ma'am Chaka, I want to continue, but the clock keeps saying no. Thank you so much for the incredible conversation. We will be following Chatting to Chaka and more conversations to come out of that.
I'm looking forward to that. I'll be knocking at your door and saying, please, talk to us.
Indeed, we will do so.
Thank you so much. Have a good weekend.
Thank you so much. Equal to you. That's Cynthia Chaka, the legendary sports broadcaster who has covered different sporting events and has been on all SABC sport channels, SABC 1, 2, and 3. And now she's also covered the likes of the Commonwealth Games, All Africa Games, Olympic Games, and the list is endless, including the Comrades Marathon, the ultimate human race. That's how we wrap up our conversation with Cynthia Chaka. Thank you for choosing Africa at Play. We are live on DSTV Audio Bouquet Channel 802 or OpenView 628. If you are in South Africa, we will continue to bring you up to speed with regards to different matches that are taking place on the African continent and globally. 15:04 Central African Time. We are officially in the second hour out of the 3 hours of Africa at Play, and we say big ups to the conversations we've had in the first hour. Today in the Nigerian Premier Football League, there are matches taking place. Wari Wolves today at 1700 Central African Time will take on Enugu Rangers, and Rivers United will take on Kwara United, while Ikorodu City will battle it out with El Kanemi Warriors, and Kuno Califat will battle it out with Remo Stars. And that's match day 2 of the 2025-2026 season of the Nigerian League. And there are matches that took place yesterday. It was Pendle up against Shooting Stars, and they played to a 1-1 draw, while other matches took place midweek. It was Niger Tornadoes beating Nasarawa United by 1-0. And we will continue to update you on different matches taking place on different parts of the African continent and globally.
Ahoy, matey!
Captain here to help, right, boys?
Set sail with us on a digital voyage like no other. Channel Africa has a treasure trove of awesomeness. That is our website and social media pages.
Tell me, why are you here?
We want you to be part of our adventure.
The winds are changing, Captain. And this time...
Imagine a world where curiosity knows no bounds, where entertainment meets enlightenment, and where every click leads to the African perspective. Visit us on our website, www.channelafrica.co.za, or follow us on Instagram or on X at Channel Africa 1. Go on, like us on Facebook at Channel Africa 1. So, spread the word. Tell a friend that Channel Africa's online variety is what they need on the web. Channel Africa, the African perspective. Years of great sporting action is as good as a lifetime, because the legends stay on. You heard something you like on Channel Africa, and you would like to hear it again. Worry not, we've got your back. Just go to our website, www.channelafrica.co.za, and look for our podcast.
Yeah, I'm off tour, we should celebrate, dedicate some time for you, baby, it's a day. I can't be late, gotta regulate, cause I hate dirty looks on your pretty face. Made back, I pulled up on a shitty day. I told her bring a passport, told her bring a case, fly out for a couple days, we should take a trip away. There's no time like the present, we're getting lit today.
Say you wanna link on the low, meet between the sheets on the low, so that no one can see us on the low. Make we just creep, keep it dope. I know you want the link on the low. We have to stay discreet, you don't know. And now we're on the street on the low. And if they asking about we, I don't know. We turn nothing to something and say that it's nothing. Stop all the fronting when we both know we're talking. It's not up for discussion. We don't do much discussing. So don't act like there's nothing when we both know there's something. You know you make me vex on the low. Boy, you made me stress, you don't know. Then you send me sweet texts on the low. So now I can't leave you alone. Yeah, might be in too deep. Can't save myself, can I lose it? Feel like me rendering a service and you give me a tip. Mind going crazy, chasing lucid dreams. Turn nothing to something. Say that it's nothing. Stop all the fronting when we both know we're talking. It's not up for discussion. We don't do much discussing. So act like this.
time like the present, we're getting lit today.
Africa at Play, beautifully, happily marrying sports and music.
Vitamin C. Oh, as you can see, something will not there for me. If you don't say that you're for me, it's no guarantee. I know if you say you be my party, for my money, you all the time I won't connect. For my balance, you know straight my car, you too can I enter my hour. For your mother, you the own me, you want the call. If you go, if you go, if you go, if you want it, if you go, if you go, if you go, you want it, if you go, if you go.
Baby, my money make a boss more. Stop a deal on talk, I know they pour on me. I want some malaga with my day ones, my day one. I let my enemies shame me go. Now I me, I know the rest I always say walk out. If I say oh lazy go, I go big money before I big my babe go. Because it is stop nonsense, you dey tell me how market. If I form or make I bend, say you get fake dress, but you want give me advice about patience. Are you making sense? Can't beat before I change my color. I dey talk, shut up. Me baby, with it, I know be ball up. She be mama, I'm fed up.
Fifteen 12 Central African Time. It was a double play. First it was Tiwa Savage on the low, and now Fikan Weekend featuring Rema by BNXN. If you have just joined us, a very warm welcome to Africa at Play. It's now welcome to Africa at Play. Namuchana, our correspondent based in Lusaka, Zambia. Oh, okay. We go. Let's rather go to the topic of the day, where Sanamu Chana is talking to the pundits about our topic of the day, where we're talking about modern stadiums that comes with shops, restaurants, and many other exciting initiatives to keep sport as a business going.
Modern stadiums evolve from a handful of restaurants, bars, and shops into entire districts with things like condos, hotels, offices, event spaces, and fitness centers. Sports teams have unlocked a new revenue stream. Stadiums like Woodlands for City of Lusaka Football Club in Zambia has various shops and a shopping mall around it, generating much needed cash. We are asking, is this the concept that all clubs on the African continent should embrace? I have with me Mr. Kawana Tombi, who is an economist and a financial expert. Mr. Kawana, thank you so much for having taken time to talk to us. We are looking at how modern stadiums on the African continent can generate much needed revenues. We know, like here in Zambia, Woodlands Stadium in Lusaka has various shops and a shopping mall around it, generating much needed cash. Is this the concept that all clubs on the African continent should embrace, Mr. Kawana? What are your views from the financial and the economical aspect?
Thank you very much for this opportunity discussing stadia or stadiums. Yes, a stadium can be a center. You know that now in this era, aggregation has become a major economic theme. So a stadium is an opportunity to bring together populations of all sorts. Here in Zambia, stadiums or stadia are underutilized. Yes, the example of Woodland Stadium, which has turned into an economic hub, is an important demonstration of how it works. Basically, because a stadium is a place where thousands of people will go to watch matches often, they do offer an opportunity to aggregate. So in aggregation, it means that lots of people come together and are able to access services such as restaurants, can even go around shops, because usually when you go for football matches, there's a lot of time before the match, which people would walk around the area as they enter, and also after. So the frequency of football matches would in that particular area allows that economic activity to come through. And because these are places which are situated in neighborhoods, it means that those particular places will carry on economic activities even afterwards. This concept is important, and in Zambia it can be enhanced. The reason which it may not be working at the moment in other places other than where we've seen it work in Woodlands is because frequent matches are not the norm in the country. Therefore, to have this strategy to work, it will require the scheduling of football matches at those places to be quite frequent. If you can have them 3-4 times in a week, then it will create that economic activity. And then eventually those places will be able to provide the services even without a football match, because people would know where they are. This concept is a concept which airports have used. And I also notice in Zambia, we also need to extend it to bus stations. Bus stations, whether saving intertown or just the local routings, should be seen as economic hubs, and similar planning around them should be done, where proper infrastructure, restroom facilities, and other things can be put together. In developed countries, in Europe and in the United States, these concepts have long been implemented. So yes, I do support the issue of us planning, making sure that we have plans around these kind of facilities. Yes, I am an advocate for that to happen, but I want to strongly say that apart from stadiums being the ones which take that position, let's also make sure in economic plans we have all bus stations in the country to be developed under such a principle.
Mr. Kawana, thank you so much for having taken time to talk to us.
Thank you very much.
The views of Mr. Kawana Rutombi, an economist and the financial expert, talking to us. We also sat down with Mr. Simata, former Football Association of Zambia president, at the same time is a former chairman for City of Lusaka Football Club.
Anybody who sets out to build a stadium and they simply put together a stadium for safe soccer and that's it, such people are either not very exposed, or they are not business minded, or are just plain wasteful. You can't go out today and build a white elephant. You have to think through. Modern stadiums are actually cities. Everything you can find in the city, you find in and around that stadium, because it's supposed to be commercial and make money 24 hours right round the clock. Football or the use of the pitch for other activities too, it's just one of those commercial things. There's very little sentimental value towards stadiums. But alas, out here in Africa, we still want to build them like in the olden way. Just a very big stadium, big enough to house as many spectators as possible, with a few amenities to suit what we are trying to achieve, a nice arena to watch football. And once there is no football, the entire stadium is a white elephant. That is sad. But if you move with times, you will get to a situation where around the stadium are other commercial activities to raise money, to make money. And in any case, that also attracts people to watch football, because it is near any amenity they would like to either start the day in or conclude it. So it's up to those who design and build stadiums to think much wider than they've done in the past.
Mr. Smata talking to us. What are the views of sports analyst Wezi Mazunda?
Very beautiful concept indeed. Yes, it's a good model, and I feel it's an opportunity for clubs to tap in. When you have an opportunity as a club to buy land, then you buy land, you construct your modern stadium, sporting facilities in there, include shops and everything. I mean, it also attracts crowds. When fans come in, they want to go and do their shopping, they want to eat, and they want to have fun. Whatever you put there, they want to buy clothes and whatever other things you can put there around the stadium. So it's another one way of making money as a football club, for football to bring in money. And Africa, it's very possible. This is an idea, a grand idea. Yeah, it may have posed a few challenges here and there, but I think you look at the positive side of things. Professionally, it's a good income generating venture for a football club to ensure that they have such modern facilities, and it should be in the visions of most of these clubs in Africa. It's not impossible. It's workable with time. You start bit by bit, eventually you pick on it, and it does work. And trust me, it's a motivator for you as a club, for income generating purposes, for your team, how they get to feel the egos of the club itself. I mean, you've owned a stadium. You can even expand after you have that one through the amount, the money that you make from these shops that you have around the stadium. Even think of building another stadium so that you're able to have more and more money trickling into the club, and the players get paid and they're happy and they're motivated. They go on that pitch and they represent you very well. Otherwise, it's not an impossible venture. With time, good planning, focus put in place, it's a very, very good venture in itself, and Africa can benefit. And I think these are issues that Africa needs to be sitting at round tables and discussing. These are discussions we need to have, discussions of progress in this direction, especially money-making ventures. I like to talk about football being a serious money-spinning venture for football clubs, and they need to sit and think outside the box and how they can bring in money. And look at how concepts are working for Woodland Stadium, for instance. Woodland Stadium is making a lot of money from those shops that they get, the rentals and everything. And many other African teams like Al Ahly and any other team that has a stadium that have these facilities around these exposed clubs. It's a good initiative, a good venture, and an idea that should be shared around to bring development for football in Africa. Thank you.
The views of Wezi Mazunda there. Today we were looking at modern stadiums. We know that modern stadiums evolve from a handful of restaurants, bars and shops into entire districts with things like condos, hotels, offices and event spaces and fitness centers. Sports teams have unlocked a new revenue stream. Stadiums like Woodlands for City of Lusaka Football Club in Zambia has various shops and a shopping mall around it, generating much needed cash. We were asking, is this the concept that all African clubs should embrace? We had Mr. Kawana Lutombi, an economist and a financial expert, talking to us, as well as Mr. Smata, former Football Association of Zambia president, and Wezi Mazunda, sports analyst. For Channel Africa Sports, I'm Chana from Zambia.
15:21 Central African Time. If you have just joined us, a very warm welcome to Africa at Play. We will be talking to our legend in Lusaka, Zambia, after this short break.
Africa, meet Abedi.
Yeah, that's me.
Abedi is a music lover through and through.
I really love African music.
He's got a taste for all kinds of tunes and spends his days listening to Channel Africa. Guess what? He didn't know.
Okay.
Channel Africa wants to help Abedi and all music lovers everywhere to discover even more incredible music. That is why Channel Africa is calling on all African musicians to submit their music. Musicians, remember to give us all your relevant information. Make your submissions at music@channelafrica.co.za. Submissions are your chance to be heard on radio. But sadly, they do not guarantee that you'll be playlisted. All submissions will be carefully reviewed to see if they meet our station's requirement. Channel Africa, the African perspective. Africa at Play with Neto and Neto Chemane.
15:23 Central African Time. If you have just joined us, a very warm welcome. We are together until 5 p.m. Central African Time as we welcome Namuchana, our correspondent from Lusaka, Zambia, to a conversation. So Namuchana, good afternoon and thanks for joining us.
Yeah, good afternoon, Neto, and good afternoon to all our listeners on the African continent.
Thank you indeed. Let's get on to it. Zambia national soccer team coach Avram Grant confident that Zambia can finish second in their 2026 FIFA World Cup African qualifiers. Talk to us about this big battle, because everyone wants to go to this World Cup that will be taking place in the US. We've got Zambia in Group E, and only if they defeat Morocco, Niger and Tanzania. And we've witnessed even on the CHAN tournament that there's no such a thing as the minnows in African football. Madagascar making it to the CHAN final is evidence enough.
Yeah, Neto, it would be a tall order for the Zambia national soccer team to finish second in that group, because Morocco is far ahead of everyone in that group, sitting on 15 points, and Zambia, after they were awarded that 3 points by FIFA, so now Zambia is sitting on 6 points, meaning that unless maybe Morocco will lose all its remaining games, somehow that is the only way Zambia can finish second in that group. But I'm not seeing that happening for now. But knowing what football is all about, anything is anything little, it can happen in football. So you cannot say never in football until after 90 minutes. So we just wait to see. Maybe he has got a lot of tricks on his sleeves that we do not know as Zambians for now. But I'll treat his words with a pinch of salt, to say we are going to finish second. Like you rightly put it, there are no minnows in football anymore. Look at the football that Tanzania is playing. And when Zambia met Niger, Zambia was beaten in Niger by 2-1. So what makes the Zambia national soccer team coach Avram Grant so confident that Zambia can finish second by winning all her 3 remaining games, starting with the game against Morocco at the Levi Mwanawasa Stadium? That will be next week on Saturday. So we just wait to see. And the only good part, Neto, is that he announced to the nation, after 1 year of bickering with the Zambia national soccer team player, this is the Fashion Sakala, Avram Grant said, look, it was high time we buried our hatchets for the betterment of Zambian football. So the Fashion Sakala has been recalled to the Zambia national soccer team once more after that heated argument where the Zambian star accused the Avram Grant of trying to coerce the Zambia national soccer team players to sign with his agent. So, and that never sat well with Avram Grant, who kicked the Fashion Sakala out of the Zambia national soccer team. So, all we know, we just wait to see how it will go. But it all goes to the Morocco game, Metro. If you are going to beat Morocco, whether by go to me or whichever scoreline, maybe that will give them that morale to push more. But one thing that we should do, realize, Neto, is that even if Zambia was to finish second, they'll need to go for playoffs. And those playoffs are selected for outside Africa. So they might meet a country from Southern Africa, or maybe from Oceania, or maybe from Europe. So it is not an automatic thing. And we'll have to wait to see how other African countries will finish at the end of the day. So to me, it is a tall order. It is a pipe dream, but anything is possible in football. We just wait to see, and we are going to get them after they play Morocco next week at the Levi Mwanawasa Stadium in Ndola.
That's the voice of Namuchana, our correspondent based in Southern Africa, in Lusaka, Zambia, talking all things Zambian and African sport. If you are wondering when are these FIFA World Cup African qualifiers taking place, Seychelles will be up against Gabon this Wednesday, the 3rd of September at 3 p.m. Central African time, as we officially enter into the FIFA break, which then puts a stop or a pause to the domestic leagues and opens up the curtain for national teams to play for different reasons. And this time it is the FIFA World Cup qualifiers. Chad will be up against West Africans, Ghana, the Black Stars, on the 4th of September. That is on Tuesday at 3 p.m. Central African time. Madagascar, the Paria, will be up against Central African Republic, also known as CAR, on Thursday the 4th of September at 1800 Central African time. Sao Tome e Principe will be up against Equatorial Guinea, also on Thursday at 1800 Central African time. Angola, the Portuguese-speaking outfit, will be up against Libya on the same day, on Thursday the 4th at 1800 Central African time. Guinea-Bissau takes on Sierra Leone, while Mauritius will be up against Cape Verde on Thursday the 4th of September, also at 1800. Another match on the same day, but at 2100 Central African time, is the Indomitable Lions of Cameroon up against Slango Semnigati Eswatini. That match is also on Thursday the 4th. Algeria, the Desert Foxes, will be up against Dikwena tsa Botswana, on the Zebras rather of Botswana, on Thursday the 4th of September 2100, while Mali will line up against Comoros on Thursday the 4th of September at 2100 Central African time. Also on the same day at the same time will be North Africans Tunisia up against West Africans Liberia, and on Friday the 5th of September we will witness Somalia up against Guinea at 2 p.m. Central African time. On the same time, on the same date at the same time, we will also have South Sudan up against Central Africans DR Congo, while East Africans Harambee Stars of Benny McCarthy Kenya will take on Gambia on Friday the 5th of September at 3 p.m. Namibia will take on Malawi on the same day at 3 p.m. and Uganda Cranes will be up against the Mambas of Mozambique on Friday the 5th of September at 1800, while Benin takes on Zimbabwe, the Warriors of Southern Africa, on Friday the 5th of September at 1800. The match between Congo and Tanzania has been cancelled. That was supposed to take place on the 5th of September. There's a match between Djibouti and Burkina Faso on the same day at 1800, and Dikwena tsa Lesotho will take on South Africa's Bafana on the 5th of September, and this match is taking place in Bloemfontein, South Africa's Free State province. It is a Lesotho home game, but happening in South Africa, and this is one issue that has been raised by people of football around the continent, especially the Nigerians, who were saying it is an unfair advantage for South Africa because away matches happen in their own home ground. But it is not South Africa's fault. It is an issue that we've tabled on Africa at Play, where we're talking about lack of facilities across the African continent. Recently we spoke about the CAF stadiums that are not getting the green light to stand as a facility that gets the go-ahead from the mother body of football because of these facilities being inadequate or still lacking renovations. We will have Mauritania up against Togo on Friday the 5th of September at 2100 Central African time. Senegal, the Teranga Lions, will take on Sudan on the same day at 2100 Central African time. The Atlas Lions of Morocco up against Niger on Friday the 5th of September at 2100 Central African time. The Elephants Ivory Coast will take on Burundi on Friday the 5th of September, and Egypt, the Pharaohs, will be up against Ethiopia on the same day at 2100 Central African time, while the Super Eagles of Nigeria will take on Amavubi, that is Rwanda, on Saturday the 6th of September at 1800. So Namuchana, the issue of lack of facilities keeps coming back to the table because now Lesotho will be playing on Bafana on South African ground, and it is because of they do not have a fit stadium that can host these continental spectacles. What are your thoughts on that, considering that the Nigerian fans had issues with that, especially because they see that they are on an uphill to get qualification to the 2026 World Cup. And for obvious reasons, they will be the ones in the forefront to say it is an unfair advantage for South Africa. But it's not South Africa's fault. South Africa are sharing the facilities they have to host those who can't help themselves.
Yeah, Neto, but the question is how unfair is it? Because it is not the duty of South Africa, for example, to build the stadiums in Lesotho. And we have seen it in recent times. Most of the Kwena matches have always been played in South Africa. So this is the similar situation that we have in the Zambian group, because most of the games for Niger, they chose that all their games will be played in Morocco, and meaning that when Morocco will play Zambia, they will have to play Zambia and Niger in Morocco. At the same time, Niger played Zambia in Morocco. The same sentiments will go to them from the Zambian soccer fans, but you don't blame these countries because they have just extended their helping hands to the countries who do not have the facilities to host these matches. So I don't think that the cries of the Nigerians, they carry any water, because modern football, you can even lose at home. So I'm not buying into that since South Africa will be playing at home against the Kwena of Lesotho, when they have that home ground advantage. Modern football nowadays, Neto, has no home ground advantage. We have seen a lot of teams losing at home. So the only way out here, it is to encourage those countries that do not have such facilities to embark on a serious journey, to build stadiums that will be accepted by the Confederation of African Football, CAF, stadiums that will meet FIFA standards. And like we rightly put it last week, the only way out, it is for these countries, surely. Those people who are running football in these countries, let them not rely on their governments for funding. Various governments on the African continent are struggling with a lot of issues. Okay, they need to finance education, they need to finance health, they need to finance agriculture. So it is a bit of difficult for them to find money to build the stadiums. I will tell you that even here in Zambia, there is no stadium that was built by the Zambian government. There's two stadiums that we have right now. The Heroes Stadium here in Osaka and the Levi Manawasa Stadium in Ndola. They were given to us by the Chinese government. They built these stadiums as gifts. So the Zambian government, they have never built any stadium anywhere. So it is high time that the principals of the game, those people who've been charged with the responsibility to run football in these countries, they should be able to go out there, approach the corporate world. We have a lot of companies in Neto that are working, those who are doing business on the African continent. Surely they should be able to come on board. They should be able to come to the party if they are approached. Like I gave an example last week. Look, if, for example, we have the Zambian government here, it approaches maybe, let's say, First Quantum Mining, which is the biggest mining company in Zambia. So, okay, look, can you build a stadium in Northwestern Province? You are going to run this stadium for the next 20, 25, 30 years. Then after that, it will become a government stadium. This is the only way out. We should be able to go into PPs. Okay, these are private-public partnerships. That's the only way we are going to see brand new stadiums, nice sporting facilities on the African continent. So, trying to blame South Africa or trying to hit it that way to say South Africa will have added advantage because every time they'll be playing Lesotho, they'll be playing in Africa. I don't think it is the right way to go. Each country was given an opportunity to host their matches in their own home country. So if it is so to fail to do so, you can't blame it on South Africa, surely. And the only way, like I've rightly put it, Neto, we should have people who are serious, those who want to develop the game of football in the African continent. They should be able to think outside the box. It's not just sitting around in offices waiting for government funding. We have a lot of companies operating in all the African continent, and I'm sure even if they cannot build the entire stadium, maybe they'll be willing even to fund 50% of it. So we just need innovators, the people who will be able to come up with good plans, because now football has become a business matter. If people are not treating sports, let me say sports, as a business, then they're missing out on something big, because sports now, it is a multi-billion-dollar business. So those countries that have been treating it that way, they are reaping the benefits. Look at the benefits that Qatar got from the 2022 World Cup. Look at Morocco. Okay, you are talking of money flocking to your country through tourism. This is what we need on that matter.
Namuchana is our correspondent based in Lusaka, Zambia, 15:39 Central African Time. A warm welcome if you have just joined us. As we take a short break, we will wrap up our conversation with Namuchana to find out what is the latest in the netball camp as we are gearing up for the Netball World Youth Cup that is slated for the 19th to the 28th of September 2025 in Gibraltar. And this is where the pinnacle World Netball event for emerging players who are under 21 years old will involve in 20 teams from the regions of Netball World Cup. And these matches will be taking place at the two competition venues in Gibraltar, the T-Centenary Sports Hall as well as the Europa Sports Park. We're going to find out more about what's the latest with the Zambian team from Namuchana after the short break.
Ahoy, matey!
Captain here to help, right, boys?
Set sail with us on a digital voyage like no other. Channel Africa has a treasure trove of awesomeness. That is our website and social media pages.
Tell me, why are you here?
We want you to be part of our adventure.
The winds are changing, Captain. And this time...
Imagine a world where curiosity knows no bounds, where entertainment meets enlightenment, and where every click leads to the African perspective. Visit us on our website, www.channelafrica.co.za, or follow us on Instagram or on X at Channel Africa 1. Go on, like us on Facebook at Channel Africa 1. So, spread the word. Tell a friend that Channel Africa's online variety is what they need on the web. Channel Africa, the African perspective.
Você é fluente em português? É apaixonado por rádio e quer trabalhar na África do Sul? Você tem documentos que o qualificam para trabalhar na África do Sul? Nesse caso, podemos ter uma oportunidade para você trabalhar no Canal África. Envie seu currículo e demonstração para Canal África at newsroom@channelafrica.co.za. Lembre-se, se você não receber alguma resposta nossa em 14 dias, isso significa que você não foi selecionado. Canal África, a perspectiva africana.
Africa at Play with Neto and Neto Chemane.
15:41 Central African Time. This is Africa at Play. We are live every Saturday and Sunday from 2 to 5 p.m. Central African Time on DSTV channel 802, alternatively on OpenView 628. Also available at your fingertips from anywhere you are on SABC Plus. Let's update you on the latest in football matches happening in the South African Betway Premiership. Matches that took place yesterday. Stellenbosch FC, Stellies went down by a goal to nil against Masanda Wana. Mamelodi Sundowns, the reigning champions. Makezi FC and Amazulu Usutu played to a 1-1 draw, while Golden Arrows Abafana Bestende couldn't see the celebration moment as they went down by a narrow 1-0 win against visitors Kaizer Chiefs. And we also witnessed Sekhukhune United beating Durban City by 2-0. And Orbit College, the newcomers, are still having an uphill. They went down by 3-1 against TS Galaxy. Chippa United is up against Orlando Pirates. 40 minutes of football has been played. Orlando Pirates leading that match by 1-0. Namuchana from Zambia is a big fan of Orlando Pirates in South Africa. I'm certain he's sitting with smiles on the other line. We've got Marumo Gallants playing against Polokwane City. Rise and shine. 41 minutes of football has been played. It's still 0-0, and we will continue to bring you up to speed with regards to all things different action happening in different parts of the African continent and globally. So Namuchana, thank you for staying on the line. Before we move on to the sport of netball, let's talk about the Betway Premiership. Orlando Pirates leading by 1-0. There seems to be a drought of goals lately. Mamelodi Sundowns won by 1-0 yesterday against Stellenbosch FC. Kaizer Chiefs also achieving the same result, beating Golden Arrows by 1-0, and some matches have produced 0-all draw outcomes. Your thoughts on your team, the Buccaneers? The Sea Robbers, if you want.
Yeah, I feel somehow maybe I can say it is early days, and the league, almost all the leagues on the African continent, I think they should be in week 2 or week 3 or so. They're still maybe brushing aside the rust that they have in their legs. We should be able to see a lot of them banging in goals as we go in. But on the flip side of things, I feel maybe due to the tactics that we are watching in football now, we are no longer watching a football team scoring 4, 5, 6, 7 goals in one match. The modern game has become so technical. It's all about studying each other. So even in England, we are watching the same trend. You find a team win by a goal to nil, 2-1, 3-2, 3-3. Yeah, so meaning that it is more on the technical side of things. So there are no more easy games now, and the strikers are not having it easy. So MFP, like I've rightly put it, it's a situation of early days. Let's wait and see. But I'm just worried with the way Orlando Pirates have been playing. I was watching them last week. Though they won, I wasn't impressed with the style of play. I was still asking myself to say what has gone wrong, because these are the same players that were there with the previous coach. So what has just happened before the previous season? So we are yet to see the best. Even here in Zambia, it is the same scenario. When you look at yesterday's scoreline, it's just the same. A 1-0, a 2-1. We are witnessing maybe a game that has changed. The football has evolved. So those days of a striker scoring 9 goals alone, and it was a long gone.
Yeah, that's Namuchana talking about the drought of goals in some of the matches that are taking place, and he says it's not just in the South African Betway Premiership but in different parts of the continent and globally. If you're a German Bundesliga fan, you will know that Hamburger SV went down by 2-0 against FC St. Pauli, and this match took place on Friday the 29th of August. More matches took place yesterday. Hoffenheim going down by 3-1 against Eintracht Frankfurt, and there was also RB Leipzig who beat Heidenheim by 2-0. Werder Bremen and Bayer Leverkusen produced 6 goals, ending that match in a 3-all draw. We've been talking about a drought, and here's a match that produced 6 goals in total. VfB Stuttgart managed a narrow 1-0 win against Mönchengladbach, and FC Augsburg went down to the reigning champions Bayern München by 3-2. I must say it is a big fight that they put up, and this match took place in Augsburg in their own home ground. Wolfsburg is up against Mayence as we speak. 17 minutes of football has been played, and they are leading by 1-0. Borussia Dortmund will take on Union Berlin today at 17:30 Central African Time, while Köln will take on SC Freiburg today at 19:30 Central African Time. So Namuchana, the Zambian netball team getting up for the big occasion, the Youth World Cup Gibraltar 2025, slated for the 19th of September, concluding on the same month on the 28th. And these matches are all taking place in Gibraltar. The under-21s, it is a good step for the development of netball.
Yeah, it is. It is. Neto, I had the opportunity to sit down with Martha Sichone, the person that you met, I think, twice yourself. Martha, she is the president for the Zambia Netball Association. She is super excited that Zambia will represent the continent in Gibraltar. But I'll tell you later that from the way Martha spoke, she's confident that the team is going to produce results. She's super excited, and she says the team has been prepared well, and they've clinched some friendly matches with Malawi. So they are leaving nothing to chance. She told me we want to prepare for these games nicely. We shouldn't have any excuses whatsoever. But I'll tell you later that they are going to have, I think, their most difficult game on the 20th of September at 10 hours. This is the Central African time, because they are going to take on 4-time winners and defending champion New Zealand, and this will be in the second game of the tournament. So, but if they are able to put everything to mind, they should be able to overcome New Zealand. But I've had an opportunity to watch New Zealand Neto. It is a team that is well assembled. They've got strong players. I've watched them, I think, a couple of times. So, and I only hope the Zambia netball team coach, this is Moses Malamangolovu, has prepared for teams like New Zealand, because New Zealand, it is not an easy team to play against. So I was watching the coach for the under-21, this is Moses Malama, who assured the nation on TV earlier this week to say she has prepared her girls properly, and Zambia should expect something good out of Gibraltar. And as I'm talking to you right now, Neto, the team is in camp, and they'll continue to be in camp until they fly out to Gibraltar. And kudos, Neto, excuse me, to the leadership of Madam Martha Sichone, who is the president for the Zambia Netball Association, for doing everything possible to make sure that the Zambia Netball is promoted at the highest level. This is what we need, because this is where the players who play for the national team will come from. So we only hope that the team, once they're in Gibraltar, they will have the mental strength to overcome some of the difficult teams like New Zealand that we are going to meet on the 20th of September.
15:51 Central African Time. That's how we wrap up our exciting conversation with Namuchana, getting updates on the latest in Zambian sport and talking all things African sport right here on Africa at Play. So Namuchana, always an awesome pleasure. Have a good afternoon further.
Neto, asante sana. Thank you very much.
Asante sana, that is a Kiswahili word that means thank you, and it's good to speak in these languages because it's just amazing how you can survive because you are multilingual. Ask me, I know. 15:52 Central African Time, I got to speak to Gordon Masondo, who is the president of Professional Beach Soccer League South Africa, and also doubles up because of his new appointment as the Deputy General Secretary of the African Beach Soccer Union, and that conversation is exclusive to Channel Africa's Africa at Play. We take a short break and straight to that conversation. Stay tuned.
Hi there. Do you want to elevate your business and give it a voice in South Africa and Africa as a whole? Well, in that case, let Channel Africa make this a possibility. Channel Africa is willing to advertise your business for as little as 30,000 rands or $1,719.18. To get access to these great rates, send all requests to mokoenata@SABC. That's MOKOENATA@SABC. Channel Africa, the African perspective.
Joining us on Channel Africa's Africa at Play is the president of Pro Beach Soccer League South Africa, who doubles up with a second cap as the Continental Deputy Secretary for African Beach Soccer Union, Gordon Masondo. Saji, good afternoon and welcome to Africa at Play.
Afternoon to you, Neto, and the listeners.
Thank you so much for joining us. Congratulations on your new big role as the Deputy General Secretary for African Beach Soccer Union. How did it come about? What can we expect?
I think, Neto, they've noticed the weight that I've brought in the game and also the work that South Africa has been doing, in terms of improving beach soccer. And we're looking forward to the good times.
Interesting indeed. It is a big role. We're talking 54 African countries. Yes, beach soccer is not yet played in all 54, but there's a massive list of African countries that are already excited and participating in the sport. Any plans to spread your wings to the rest of the countries that are still not active?
Already we are talking Somalia. Somalia has just joined us on the platform. And we will be receiving the information about the ongoing of the league, that side. But definitely people, they must look forward to see all the nations, participating in the sport. But the biggest thing also that we need to do is to rally behind, the ABSU, which is African Beach Soccer Union, so as it can get a proper recognition from FIFA. I'm not saying that we are not recognized, but it takes time, for people to adjust to the fact that, no, we are existing and we need to push, and through your channels, and other channels, and the activeness of the people on the ground, that is eminent to happen.
Talking about the mother body of football globally, FIFA, also the continental mother body, CAF, is it a scenario where you've got to follow protocol and engage CAF for FIFA to then, on a later stage, also recognize you?
Definitely, but already our top brass, they did engage Mr. Mutsipe in the last AFCON that was played, and he showed interest. It's just that, everything takes time. It's not an overnight thing, but we're getting there.
You are also the president of Pro Beach Soccer League in South Africa. What's the latest?
I just want to keep everything under wraps for now, but we are on our way to launching the National League now, because our league has been playing in one province. We have gone to a stage where now we are bringing in other provinces and teams from outside provinces.
And talking about provinces, we're talking plus minus 5 provinces that have endorsed Pro Beach Soccer League in the country. Is this a starting point with the remaining 4 to join on a later stage?
Yes, it is a starting point. I think it's advisable to start, small, because, it's a new thing, but we will be continuing with the 12 teams. Whoever that is going to come on board after, they will be forming the Division 1, which is going to obviously keep to the relegation and promotion, which we're looking forward to.
Is it an expensive exercise to set up an artificial beach soccer facility for those inland cities?
It's actually, much more cheaper than the futsal court and the five-a-side court. But, it depends on the interest also. Because most of the people here in Africa, they still, trying to understand the sport, which is beach soccer, and others, they think that you cannot play the sport in the inland stream. You've got to only play it in the coastal, which is not true. But I believe we are on the right track. They will understand. But in terms of the money that should be spent in terms of erecting the beach soccer field, it's much more lesser, and also, people can make as many pitches as they can, as long as the finance is there.
Back in the days when some of us were growing up, the likes of Max Maponyane, Dr. Kumalo, Ace Kuze, the list is endless. They were products of school sport. Are we likely to see beach soccer go in that direction of introducing beach soccer in schools?
We are already there. Hence, we have started with other programs of introducing the industry that is related to the beaches, which is maritime studies, gas exploration, and also the ocean's economy. And also because we are part of the ocean as an aquatic sport, we are bringing in beach soccer gradually, and people are warming up to it in a nice way.
Talking about aquatic sports, any plans to have a conversation with the likes of Alan Fritz, who is the president of Aquatics in South Africa?
Most probably we would love to have the conversation with the guy to see if maybe, we can collaborate and do something good for the nation.
Talking about the nation, beach soccer is a big industry. The national team of beach soccer in South Africa is selected from Pro Beach Soccer League South Africa. Are you at an advanced or elite level in terms of solidifying your relationship with the mother body of football, Safa?
No, our relationship is solidified because, they gave us the endorsement and they've been giving us a backing in terms of the tournaments that we participated in, as a country. And because they continue to select players from the Pro Beach Soccer League. So it tells you that they do recognize us and we do have a relationship.
If you have just joined us, we are talking to Gordon Basondo, the president of Pro Beach Soccer League South Africa, who also wears a different cap or a double cap as the deputy secretary of the African Beach Soccer Union. So, G, thank you so much for talking to us on Africa at Play. Before I let you go, your 5-year plan?
5-year plan is to see Pro Beach Soccer League growing in stature, being played at the schools at all levels, and people rallying behind the sport. From the side of the APSU, we just want to grow the organization and make sure that we are represented in all the African countries, and making sure that we can host our own events, but being supported by the mother body, which is FIFA and all the other relevant federations.
Football in South Africa is a big space, yet a small space, because not every footballer makes it to the professional arena. Yet beach soccer is another massive industry that allows those that loves playing beach soccer to also make it in beach soccer as a career. In terms of the corporate world, as you continue to knock in different doors, how's the reception?
The reception is slow, to be honest. People are trying to adjust to that. But again, I want us to get away from, the thinking of saying, people who didn't make it or who just retired from the mainstream soccer must come here. No. People can even start with beach soccer and finish with beach soccer, but it is a platform, for people who decided that they still want to continue playing the sport professional, but they are not given a chance, in the mainstream football. We are not saying you are not needed this side. As long as you are capable of doing the job, then the teams will employ you.
And in short, what would you like to say to young Africans who would like to give beach soccer a shot?
Give it a shot. It's a very good sport. You can feed your family through the sport. Remember, after the World Cup, we've seen one striker from Ghana, a Ghanaian who is signed by the Barcelona beach soccer team. And, everything is happening. Beach soccer is a very big sport that does not take beach soccer for granted. Beach soccer, it's a professional sport like any other sporting course.
African Beach Soccer Union Deputy Secretary and the President of Pro Beach Soccer League South Africa, Gordon Masondo. Sergi, always an awesome pleasure talking to you on Africa at Play. The pleasure is mine. 16:02 Central African Time. That was a conversation between myself and Gordon Masondo, the African Beach Soccer Union Deputy Secretary, recently appointed. All along, he's been serving as the president of Pro Beach Soccer League South Africa. He also used to serve at Amazayoni Mpumalanga Black Aces as one of the administrators, and also served at Abafana Bestende after that, Golden Arrows as the chief executive officer. Very well-renowned administrator when it comes to football. 16:03 Central African Time. We've officially entered the third and final hour of Africa at Play. We will be having a conversation with the boxing legend Masibulele Hawk Makepula, who was born on the 3rd of March 1973 in East London, South Africa's Eastern Cape province, a professional boxer and later became a charismatic pastor and a good legend to have a conversation with, because he knows just so much about the sport of boxing and continues to nurture young talent. We will be having that conversation after this musical break. Aye Mozambique, which is a song by Tim Kaiser. Africa at Play, as Delil Siashaya. Don't go away.
Hey, all the praise.
Oh yeah. So now gênant. Je me mêle de ce qui me regarde. Les affaires des autres là ne me concernent pas, non. Comment tu dis que je suis ton gros, mais quand tu vois que je t'aime, tu ne me conseilles pas, non. N'attendez pas le jour de ma mort pour poster partout RIP. Aidez-moi quand je suis malade. Le chien aboie, la caravane passe. On va donner un bout au pays, nous on a la rage. On me dit que boulot c'est boulot, faut faire la boulot pour les dos. C'est mieux de se casser le dos que de se faire casser pour clos, ça c'est le waro. Dis-toi que papa doit te voir, yo. On me dit que boulot c'est boulot, faut faire la boulot pour les dos. C'est mieux de se casser le dos que de se faire casser pour clos, ça c'est le waro. Dis-toi que papa doit te voir, que papa doit te voir, yeah. Je serai célèbre et escondra mon nom la foule. Chaque fois que Dieu m'élève, je me fais petit dans la cour. Avant de dire que t'abandonnes, regarde ton parcours. Ne te laisse pas démoraliser, moi là tout va toujours. Oui, oui, tout va toujours, on prend comme ça vient chaque jour. Malgré la durée de la nuit, le soleil se lèvera toujours. Là j'ai passé la porte et je commence un nouveau cycle dans ma vie. Car tout va toujours. Boulot c'est boulot, faut faire la boulot pour les deux. C'est mieux de se casser le dos que de se faire casser pour clos. Dis-toi que papa quand te voit, que papa quand te voit, yeah.
Africa at Play with Neto and Neto Chemane.
Yeah, yeah, you are my African queen. Ooh, Lord, ooh, Lord. Just like the sun, light up the earth, you light up my life. The only one I ever see with a smile so bright. And just yesterday, you came around my way. You changed my horse in way with your astonishing beauty. Oh, you couldn't make a brother sing. No ordinary thing, a supernatural being. And no, you are brighter than the moon, brighter than the star. I love you just the way you are. And you are my African queen, the girl of my dreams. You take me where I never been, yeah. You make my heart go ding-a-ling-a-ling. Oh, you are my African queen, the girl of my dreams. And you remind me of a thing, and that is the African beauty. Yeah, yeah. Ooh, you are my African queen. Oh, Lord, ooh, Lord. Out of a million, you stand as one, the outstanding one. I look into your eyes, girl, what I see is paradise. Hey, you captivated my soul. Now every day I want you more. I cannot deny this feeling I'm feeling inside. Hey, no one cannot take your place. You cannot take your space. That is a fact I cannot erase. And no, you are the one that makes me smile, make me float like a boat upon the Nile. Girl, you are my African queen, the girl of my dreams. You take me where I never been. You make my heart go ding-a-ling-a-ling. Yeah, you are my African queen, the girl of my dreams. And you remind me of a thing, and that is the African beauty. Oh, oh, yeah, yeah. Ooh, you are my African queen, and I know, oh yes I know. You are my African queen, and I know. See I know what I am feeling in my heart and in my soul. Oh, I know that it's His love, and I know that this love was surely sent from up above. Cause you're the only one that I think of. You are my African queen, and I know that it means that you're the only one that I will serve. I'll give you my heart, my love, my body and my money. Every other thing you think of. In a man who could think of anything better than you, who could think of ever hurting you. Sacrifice my all, I'll give it all to you. You are my African queen, for real. You are my African queen, the girl of my dream, the girl of my dream. Where I never been. Oh, na na, yeah. Oh, Lali, you are my African. You are my African queen, girl of my dream, my African. You remind me of a thing. Oh, that is the African. So black, so beautiful. I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you. Munyemo, I love you, I love you, I love you. Munyemo, I love you, I love you. Oh yeah, my African queen.
16:12 Central African Time, my African Queen. That's how we roll on Africa at Play. It is awesome sounds of music that speaks to different souls on the African continent. A very warm welcome if you have just joined us. It is time for a conversation with our legend in sport, as we will be talking to Masibulele Hawk Makepula, who was born on the 3rd of March 1973 in South Africa's East London, South Africa's Eastern Cape Province in East London. A professional boxer and a good mentor of the sport, a nation builder. Mr. Makepula, very good afternoon and a warm welcome to Africa at Play.
I greet you all in the wonderful mighty name of my Savior, Yahushua Mashiach, who died for us on the rocket cross. This is Professor Hawk Makepula. I thank you. It's an honor for you to have me here. I thank you.
Thank you so much indeed. It is a great honor to have a legend of your caliber to this conversation on Africa at Play. Let's take it back to the early days of Masibulele. What did you get up to as a youngster?
Those were good news, very powerful stuff that was happening in my life. I give honor to Unkulunkulu for giving me that honor to be known, to be well known all over the world, to travel the world.
Interesting indeed. What a great journey of a great legend, Professor Hawk Makepula, also known as Masibulele. But a lot of people know this legend as Brahawk. Mr. Makepula, let's talk about this nickname, because there's still a lot of people out there that do not even know your first name because of just how great the nickname Hawk came about and how popular it became.
Let me first say this. Because of my hero, Welcome the Hawk Neto, that's how this name came from. Because he was my hero, and I was looking after him. So the name ended up becoming my trend name, and so I even put the name in my ID. Now I'm Masibulele Hawk Makepula.
Very interesting indeed that this name also made it to your ID. It also goes to show that those that come before us, they've got a very massive impact on our lives. And also you as a legend, you've got a great impact to the youngsters in boxing. Boxing as a sport, how did you meet this exciting sport?
Unfortunate or fortunate, I knew that one day I will be someone. I will be a hero, I will be a superstar. And I knew those things will happen in two things, in boxing, in sport, in fact, because I even played soccer. I was one of the best soccer players in my region. I played pool table. So the sport is in my veins, So I knew one day that I would be a superstar.
And talking about a superstar, I'm one of those youngsters that grew up while you were into the sport of boxing, and you made us wake up in the early hours back in the days to watch you live on SABC. And that goes to show just how great the sport of boxing is if someone can have a sleepless night to watch their heroes in the boxing ring. Talk to us about those days in the mid-90s where you were on fire as a boxer.
Those are the things that I will never forget in my life, because it's an honor for people not sleeping because of you, and I know maybe the other question that will come from you will be like, how did I feel when I'm fighting overseas and I don't have a crowd that side? What I was doing, I was doing imagination by myself, seeing a vision by myself, seeing you sitting on the chair, watching me, in my continent, in my country. You understand? So I didn't feel a void or alone when I was in the ring, because I knew that you are watching as I'm boxing. So, when you think such things, for example, last week, 3 days ago, I was talking with my ex-boxers. Guys, I remember one other day I was fighting, we were 4 from South Africa. It was me, Cassius Baloyi, Lindime Mani, and Jacob Mufokeng. And we were fighting. They were fighting in Pennsylvania. I was fighting in New York. Now we won 4 world titles within 7 days from South Africa. Then I remember that the rand went up, and then the dollar went down. The rand increases, and then the dollar decreases. So that's how amazing those days were.
Interesting indeed. 1618 Central African time. We are getting to know our legend better. We are talking to Professor Masibulele Hawk Makepula, who was a great in the sport of boxing and also got to play football. Was one of the best in his region. He played the pool table as well. Those are sports people for you. They are never narrow-minded to stick into just one game. They will always spread their wings for as long as there are opportunities and time allows. Mr. Makepula, let's talk about your first trip going abroad. Do you still remember those days and what happened?
Remember that I've started representing my country as an amateur. That today is called open boxing. So I've started traveling as a young boy, around 16, 17 years old, representing South Africa abroad. I remember my first trip was in Mozambique. That was my first trip, an international trip, and my second one was in Nigeria, and I won silver and the bronze, and I went to Canada, to Germany several times, especially Germany. I went maybe 3 times to Germany. I represented South Africa in the World Championships as an amateur, and I ended up becoming a number 2 in the world as an amateur, because I became the first boxer to beat a Cuban boxer in Africa. So that was an honor to me, and I give glory to our Heavenly Abba.
Interesting indeed. And what have you learned from traveling? Because I always say to people, if you haven't traveled the world, there's a missing chapter in your life.
I'm not sure I was fortunate or unfortunate. Unfortunate, I never went out of the country for pleasure. It's always business, and business of boxing, obviously representing the country. So I've learned a lot there, and I've seen the way that they are grooming their young stars from a scratch, especially in Germany. They taking their young boys in each and every code, taking them to academy. That is where we are failing in Africa, because we don't have academies. You understand? Those people, they have taken those boys and put them in academy, and those boys will study there. They will study school there and all that stuff, but they will be studying a lot of things. But unfortunately, it never happened in our country or in our continent.
And talking about our country and our continent, what really needs to transpire for our principals in boxing from South Africa point of view to the rest of the continent to go with a model that speaks to developing the sports holistically in terms of the lack of academies that you're talking about, which I believe is a good initiative to have, especially on the African continent, because when it comes to talent, it comes in baskets and baskets. No need to worry about it, but it is the structure around the sport that still needs to be improved on.
Unfortunately, in our country, we have, or in our continent, we have deaf ears. We are led by deaf ears, people that who care less about ambassadors, who care less about the country, who care less about the continent. So one thing that will make things to be okay is to make sure that the office is changed. You understand? It is transformed, the whole office. When I'm saying the whole office, the people that are leading this country are not supposed to lead this country. Maybe we'll wait. In fact, we're going to wait for our creator, Abba, to give us back to chiefs and kings, for them to lead, and hearing from the prophets of God. That's where our sporting codes will be respected. All other offices will be respected. You understand? Unfortunately, at the present moment, there's nothing will happen. We've said this for a very long time. Remember, 96 up to date, we have more than 3 Olympics. Boxing was not the part of. And 3 Olympics, that is 2020, 2016, 2012. Boxing was not there because of our government. You understand?
Aluta continua, the struggle continues when it comes to the sport of boxing, with a number of issues that still needs to be worked on for the sport of boxing to go to the upper level, to the highest bar where it belongs. If you have just joined us, a very warm welcome to Africa at Play. We're having a hot conversation talking boxing with the legend of the sport, Professor Masibulelo Hogmakepula, who has been in the sport and is still devoted to the sport of boxing. Mr. Makepula, let's also talk about the future of the sport. As you've rightfully said, that as it stands, the African continent is not where it's supposed to be. Can we still be optimistic and say there is a light at the end of the tunnel for boxing to prevail on the African continent and compete with other elite countries that are already following great models in developing the sport?
Definitely so. We have to keep to be optimistic because remember that we are the chosen people. Maybe you didn't know that. We are the chosen people. When I'm saying chosen people, when you're talking about this continent, Al-Kebulan, we are the people who are in the heart of the Creator, that is Allah, Yahuwah. You understand? So there is a lot that is still expected from us. We've been achieving long time ago, a lot of stuff that has been achieved by Black. In fact, immediately when doors were opened for us to be the part of, you will discover that there are lots of in the sporting codes, lots of black people or billionaires who achieved for this continent. You understand? But unfortunately, at the present moment, we are sabotaged in all directions. We are suppressed in everything. You understand? So we need just to be freed. But unfortunately, without unity, and I won't blame the oppressors. I will blame our people. You understand? Because we need unity. You understand? We need to go back to our heavenly Father, our heavenly Abba, because the game, the sport is for us. You understand? We were chosen.
Are you still involved in training the young up-and-coming generation of boxers so that later on in life we can continue to celebrate your legacy, because we need your expertise, we need your knowledge of the sport to be imparted to the young people of this continent and not just this country?
I have started a boxing television called Mbuyekezo Boxing Channel. You can check it online. We have spent from our pockets around 50 million to build it, but unfortunately, because of lack of resources, we got exhausted. So we put a pause on that. But we are continuing, waiting for the investors. You understand? So it's going to be 24/7 boxing channel. It is in fact 24/7 boxing channel. We want to have presenters, but at the present moment we've got just have interviews and in our content we have interviews and lots of fights, amateur fights, about 15,000 amateur fights. And that is exclusively, and about 20,000 professional fights that are exclusively, you understand? And just recently, 13 months ago, I was nominated in sanctioning to sanction the fights national. That is, I'm working for Boxing South Africa.
Celebrating a living legend, that is Professor Masibulelo Hogmakepula, right here on Africa at Play. Mr. Makepula, thank you so much for the incredible conversation. My heart really wants to continue, but the clock keeps saying no.
It is an honor for you to think of me. I didn't know that there are people that recognizing me as one of the legends. I heard that from Robert Murawa, but I'm hearing it again. It's an honor. I give my Creator the glory.
Thank you so much. That is Professor Masbulele Hogmakepula talking to us on Africa at Play, all things boxing. He is indeed a great legend of the sport amongst a long list of other legends like the late Baby Jacob Matlala, as well as the Rose of Soweto, Dingan Tobela. The list is endless of great legends out there. Because of time, we can't mention them all. And we say let the sport of boxing continue growing and make it to the highest possible height.
Years of great sporting action is as good as a lifetime because the legends stay on. Hi there. Do you want to elevate your business and give it a voice in South Africa and Africa as a whole? Well, in that case, let Channel Africa make this a possibility. Channel Africa is willing to advertise your business for as little as 30,000 rands or $1,719.18. To get access to these great rates, send all requests to mokoenata@SABC. That's MOKOENATA@SABC. Channel Africa, the African perspective. Years of great sporting action is as good as a lifetime because the legends stay on.
16:29 Central African Time. If you have just joined us, a very warm welcome to Africa at Play. It's time for sports news, starting with tennis news. Sweden's only entrant in the 2025 US Open, Andre Göransson, is out of the men's doubles in the first round after he and his partner, Sam Verbeek of the Netherlands, were defeated in straight sets 6-3, 6-3 by Frenchman Sadio Doumbia and Fabien Reboul. Seeded for both Wimbledon and the French Open earlier this summer, poor performances in both plus a second round exit at last year's US Open meant Göransson and Verbeek went one of the 16 seeds at Flushing Meadows. That meant for a difficult first-round tie against 15th seed Doumbia and Reboul, though it was the Swede and the Dutchman who forced the first break point of the matches in Game 7. Not only could they not take advantage, but the French duo broke a serve in the next game for a crucial 5-3 lead before wrapping up the first set in next game without dropping a point. In football news, the newly signed Chippa United striker Somilian Sundwana says he will forever be indebted to the club's chairman, Siviwe Chipambengesi. He appreciates the chairman for standing by his decision to return him to the club. Sundwana is a Chile boy youth product who left the now defunct Bidvest Vets and Richards Bay FC. He was supposed to join Chippa United in June after training with the team. He wasn't signed. When the new coach Luke Emael replaced Sinetemba Badela, Sundwana returned. The Gqeberha player says the past few months have been difficult for him.
Yeah, a lot happened the past month, I don't wanna lie. Been a tough month for me. But most importantly, I would like to say thank you to the chairman for having the faith and belief in me with whatever has happened outside, with whatever things were said outside, that he stood by the decision that he wanted to bring me back to Chippa United. And for that, I will try my utmost best to make sure that he made the right decision to bring me back. So I'm grateful for that.
Sundwana comes to a Chippa team that hasn't started the season well, finding them at the bottom of the locker with 3 losses from 4 matches. However, he believes that the arrival of Emael will soon see them climbing the league standings.
The mood is great, I don't want to lie. The mood is great. The coach is gelling with us very well. We are getting to understand him because it's been some time now being with him. So also, I think it comes with the mentality of us working hard, and in which that will help us going forward. So with him in the team, I see good things happening.
At some stage, it looked like Sundwana was going to struggle to find a team, having returned home to Motherwell and been turned down by Chippa. However, the 28-year-old continued to believe and now says he must make the most of this opportunity.
Yeah, the feeling is good, I don't want to lie. Being back at home, being back with my family, and also being back at Chippa United again, because I was here before. So it's not only about me being back at Gqeberha, it's about me also creating new memories with the team and making sure that we make history with the club.
Stellenbosch FC will use their upcoming MTN 8 final against Orlando Pirates as motivation in the next 2 weeks as domestic football takes a recess during the FIFA international break. Coach Steve Barker admitted following the 1-0 loss to Mamelodi Sundowns at the Athlone Stadium that they have not had the best start to their league campaign and hope the cup final will lift the mood in camp. Stellies have lost 3 of their opening 5 matches with only 1 win and a draw apiece.
We've had a bit of a difficult start, but within all those games, we've also shown that we are also capable. So it's just important for us. We look forward to a final coming up. If we didn't have a final to look forward to, it would have been a tough FIFA break. But we do have something to look forward to. Obviously, a lot of work still to be done in the league. I think over a period of time, I've got to sort of see what we have available in Mokobodi, getting some time today and showed his qualities. Mtihani is now settled in, and obviously Bradley coming back from a long-term injury, starting to find his feet. So it's just about this FIFA break to regroup and to ensure that our next league matches going forward, we have to be picking up a lot more points than what we are.
Barker also noted that the Pirates' preparations will be somewhat hampered by the number of players heading to the Bafana Bafana camp ahead of the World Cup qualifiers. He will be using this extra time with his full squad to give players a few days rest.
Pirates, I think, have 7 players selected for the Bafana squad, so we can really knuckle down. I think this was our 7th game in 20 days. It was 8 games in August, so I think a couple of days regeneration, give the players off till Wednesday, will allow us to just refresh and really concentrate on working with the team and preparing really well for the final.
Stellenbosch's 3 losses this season have come against the big 3 of Kaizer Chiefs, Orlando Pirates and Mamelodi Sundowns in a very demanding start of the season. Barker acknowledged that they probably all deserved their wins, but asked his team to be more aggressive when playing those teams.
Yeah, I think when the fixture list came out, we obviously could see that it's not an easy start. Sundowns are a really good team, so are Pirates. Chiefs have settled. They made some good sort of acquisitions to their squad, so we always knew it would be a difficult start. But we tried to sort of make it feel that although difficult, it's also exciting, because if you can come out of these 5 games, perhaps maybe with 7-8 points, then it does allow you hopefully opportunity in the next 5 matches and the following 5 before the halfway stage. We can then get some momentum, go on those unbeaten runs, go on back-to-back wins. But it turned out not to be. 3-1 losses. So tough start. We need to reflect. I think there's a lot of learnings to be done.
The Stellies mentor also reflected on some of the new signings the club made in the off-season as the 2025-2026 campaign reaches its first punctuation point.
Yeah, I think they fitted in really well. I think it's clear to see that Henry Stanich is a good quality defender. You know, he's going to give us the presence and the experience that he brings from Europe. Obviously, a player like Mtihani has shown in a short space of time that he's a really good sort of natural number 6 player that I think will add big value. And then obviously, you know, others like Musa Mushle, Kanye, he hasn't really had a run of games, but I can see in training that he's really special. Obviously, we're looking forward to Seviwe getting his opportunities. They're going on the under-20 camp now, so his opportunities will come, and he shows real promise. Eventually, we got our work permit for our left back, Turan Manafov, so he'll be available for the final going forward. That's might be missing out 2 or 3, but Mokobodi, I think, showed just in the 15 minutes that he was on the pitch, he's a really smart footballer, clever footballer. They have integrated all well, and we're looking to everybody, you know, playing a big role over the season. It's going to be a lot of matches, so I'm sure that everybody will play a key part in that role in the season.
After successfully co-hosting the Total Energies African Nations Championship Chain tournament, whose curtains came down on Saturday, Kenyan President William Ruto has vowed to sharpen their preparations ahead of the 2027 Africa Cup of Nations AFCON. The 8th edition of Chain was co-hosted in East Africa by Kenya, Uganda and Tanzania. While Tanzania hosted the opening ceremony, Uganda staged the third place playoff, with Kenya staging the final at Kasarani Stadium. In the pulsating final, Morocco secured a record third Chain title after overcoming first-time finalists Madagascar by 3-2. The Atlas Lions, champions in 2018 and 2020, were tested to the limit by a spirited Malagasy side, but ultimately their pedigree and experience told. The victory earned Morocco the gold medal and $3.5 in prize money, while Madagascar pocketed silver and $1.2 million. The 36th edition of the biennial African Football AFCON tournament, organized by the Confederation of African Football (CAF), will be hosted by Uganda, Kenya and Tanzania in June and July 2027. Still in football news, Bafana coach Hugo Bross has no reservations about handing 19-year-old defender Mbeke Mbogazi a major role if needed in the upcoming FIFA World Cup qualifiers. The Orlando Pirates centre-back was included in the 23-man squad announced on Thursday for back-to-back clashes against Lesotho and Nigeria next week. Despite his youth, has long been impressed by Mbogazi's composure and ability since his promotion to the Pirates' first team last season. The Belgian tactician believes the teenager has shown enough quality to handle the demands of international football and will not hesitate to call him if required.
You know, it's like he played already 5 years in that team, and he's confident, he's strong. Yes, he's a very good defender, even against good players. I saw the game against Sundowns. There was a few moments. There was an action in the 16 with Reiners. Now Reiners is not a nice guy either, but he pushed him aside. So that means that he has the power also.
Mbogazi did get a chance to work with Bruce in the two friendly matches against Tanzania and Mozambique 2 months ago, a test he passed with flying colours.
With younger players, you always see in the first games he played, they are a little bit unsure, and that was something what I wanted to see in June when he played with us. He played very good with Pirates, but Bafana is something else. I didn't saw anything of not being sure or not being confident or being nervous, or he just played the game. And this is something special for a young player of 19 years old, that in 6 months he became a standard player in the team like Pirates, and everybody agreed when you say this is a very good player. There is nobody who says, no. Everybody knows that he's a good player.
Speaking of young players, Bros admitted concern that the under-20 national team is heading to the FIFA World Cup in Chile without preparation games.
I think everybody knows what Nigeria is. Nigeria is power, is quality, is individuals, Lokman, Osimhen, tough team. At the other side, till now they didn't really perform what we expect from them. Otherwise, they shouldn't be that so many points behind us. I expected that for this game, that we should be very, very much closer to each other. 1 or 2 points, 3 points difference, and maybe they in front of us or we in front of us. So it's an unexpected position, an unexpected situation, that Nigeria is only fourth with that amount of points behind us. But that doesn't mean that it's finished. But at the other side, that does mean also they don't like to play against us, that I know, because we became a better team. So it's up to us to take advantage of that. and not starting doubting and starting be afraid of Nigeria suddenly. Why? I don't see any reason. If we go for it and we play on our best level, we can win against Nigeria. We can lose also. That is a game you never know. But we don't have to start doubting and being afraid of Nigeria. There is no reason to for the moment.
And finally, in rugby news, Springbok women assistant backline coach Neto Chemane says they will display a positive attitude when they face Italy in their second 2025 Women's Rugby World Clash in York. The Bok women will look to maintain their winning momentum after starting the tournament on a high with a dominant 66-6 bonus point win over Brazil to lead Pool D with 5 points. Speaking to SABC Sport, Chemane says their first win was important to set the tone, and they now aim to maintain that standard going into the coming matches. That's how we wrap up our sports news. We take a short break. When we come back, we'll find out from Anika Longe what's coming up on Mix Vibration. This is Africa at Play. Astele Lisiashai.
Africa at Play with Neto and Neto Chemane.
Você é fluente em português? É apaixonado por rádio e quer trabalhar na África do Sul? Você tem documentos que o qualificam para trabalhar na África do Sul? Nesse caso, podemos ter uma oportunidade para você trabalhar no Canal África. Envie seu currículo e demonstração para Canal África at newsroom@channelafrica.co.za. Lembre-se, se você não receber alguma resposta nossa em 14 dias, isso significa que você não foi selecionado. Canal África, a perspectiva africana.
Weekends just got better. Only on Channel Africa.
16:44 Central African Time. Time indeed runs rapidly when having a good time, but hey, no complaints because the radio space means there will be other shows coming up, and what's still coming up is Mix Vibration with a special lady, Anika Longe. Bonjour. Happy Women's Month. Today is the 31st of August.
We will continue c'est le dernier jour. It's the last day of the Women's Month. Thank you, Neto. Bonjour à tous les auditeurs de Channel Africa. Alors, on se retrouve tout à l'heure, les habitués le savent, lorsque vous me voyez, vous voyez Mix Vibration, n'est-ce pas? Nous allons encore vibrer aujourd'hui comme nous le faisons tous les week-ends. Nous allons bouger, nous allons danser, il y aura de la belle musique. Nous serons au Congo, en République démocratique du Congo, pour écouter du Lokwakanza. On va écouter de la musique nigérienne, sud-africaine, bref, un peu partout. En Afrique, nous allons également aujourd'hui nous entretenir avec une talentueuse artiste qui nous vient du Sénégal. Elle vient de sortir un album, un single. Nous allons parler de son single. Elle va également participer au festival Boaké en Côte d'Ivoire. Nous allons parler de tout ça et également parler de tout son univers musical. Et je vous invite à rester branchés au www.channelafrica.co.za pour ne rien manquer. Merci beaucoup, Neto.
Merci beaucoup. Do stay tuned to Channel Africa from an African perspective. We are broadcasting to the world in 5 languages: in English, Chinyanja, Kiswahili, Portuguese, and French. The Diamond League, which is the top tier in track and field athletics, concluded in Zurich and thus paving way for the World Athletics Championships in Japan. Our UK-based sport correspondent Kesham Sajinyati has more.
In less than 2 weeks, the biggest stage in athletics, the World Athletics Championships, kicks off in Tokyo, Japan. Over 200 countries will be represented as the best of the best compete for glory across track and field events. But before the Tokyo Showdown, the Diamond League wrapped up in spectacular fashion in Zurich, Switzerland after 15 thrilling legs across the globe. Top athletes who have been dominating the season walked away with not only trophies but also $40,000 each in prize money. The USA sprint sensation Noah Lyles made history, winning the men's 200 meters league trophy for a record 6 times. In a dramatic 100 meters final, Christian Coleman of the USA edged out South Africa's Akani Simbine to snatch the trophy. Simbine had been leading the series, but a misstep in the final cost him dearly. Sydney's Mondo Duplantis remains untouchable in the men's pole vault. Norway's Karsten Warholm was electric in the men's 400-meter hurdles, and Femke Bol of the Netherlands continued her dominance. Meanwhile, Julian Alfred from St. Lucia stormed to victory in the women's 100 meters to take the trophy. Africa had its moment in the spotlight too. In the women's 3,000 meter steeplechase, Kenya's Faith Cherotich took the trophy. Kenya also celebrated big wins from Emmanuel Wanyonyi in the men's 800 meters and Nelly Chepcheshe, who stunned the field in the women's 1500 meters with a brilliant finish in Zurich. Now, all roads lead to Tokyo as these world-class athletes prepare to battle once again, this time for World Championships medals. Stay tuned, African stars are ready to shine. Kesho Mnyati for Africa at Play.
16:48 Central African Time. Thank you to Kesham Sajiyati for that report as we now welcome him for a live conversation. Saji, good afternoon and welcome to Africa at Play.
Yeah, I'm fine, Neto. Thank you very much.
Yes, I was actually watching the Diamond League proceedings that was happening in the evening, and it was good to see the likes of Noah Lyles doing what he does best, Coleman doing what he does best, but said for the African athletes, the likes of Akani Simbine that you've spoken about, and the sensation, the teenage sensation by Walaza unable to finish his race because of that injury that came haphazardly. Your reaction?
Yes, it was actually a big blow for Walaza because he was really trying to go for it in the 100 meters running on the inside lane. And all of a sudden, he must have suffered a muscle cramp, and then he just fell. And there's doubt now that he will be fit for the upcoming World Athletics Championships in Japan. Maybe he will make it. The physios, they have to work hard and see that, he recovers quickly. But otherwise, apart from that, as we have said, it was quite an exciting event. And one other event that I want to talk about, if I'm sure you watched it, Marie-Josette Alou Smith of the Ivory Coast, who was disqualified in the women's 100 meters. She is one of the best female sprinters on the continent, but they are judged to have jumped the gun, and she was disqualified. But she ran under protest, and she finished third overall. But well, that result did not count. And then she went further to compete in the 200 meters, and she did extremely well, finishing third position. So Marie-Josette Alou remains one of the best African female sprinters on the continent. Yes, it was exciting, and the athletes used it to prepare for the oncoming World Athletics Championships to take place in Tokyo in 2 weeks' time.
I've also learned, Sergi, from the Diamond League finals that as a professional athlete, you've got to be very strong mentally, because after that disqualification to Marie-Josette Alou, she still went on running under protest and finished third. And in another discipline, still finished third. And that's when I realized that mental strength is just on another level.
She is really tough-minded, and I know she is very dedicated. I remember when I saw her compete at the previous World Athletics Championships in Budapest, Hungary. She finished fourth. She didn't make it. There was some medical things in mixed zone because she really cried. Is to actually embrace it, to try to stop her cry, because she's very much eager to get a World Championship medal and Olympic medal, but that has so far did her. But still the same, she's one of the best on the continent.
Sergi, let's also educate our listeners on Africa at Play. Some of the athletes that participated at the Diamond League finals made it because they qualified to get there, but there are those special ones that were invited by the World Athletics. How does it work? How does an athlete get an invitation of that caliber?
Yeah, well, it depends. There are standards set. If it's a track event, the World Athletics, they actually stipulate that you have to run such times to qualify for the event. If it's a field event, it's still the same thing. The distance is measured, and they have to see if you attain the right standard. But when it goes to actually going to compete at World Championships, if you won your event at the previous World Championships, automatically you get a wild card and then you compete. But there is a discretion of some kind. Some athletes, some countries, and that they really struggle to have athletes who meet the standards. And some of the athletes, they are really led to compete. And it becomes very tough. You find that when they're competing, you find that they are actually, not up to that. But on the other hand, somebody can surprise the top athletes and they find that person doing very well and making a name for themselves. That's how it works.
And Sergi, let's also talk about the upcoming World Championships taking place in Tokyo, Japan. What can we expect from the African elite athletes and those that will be part of this exciting spectacle?
Yes, it will be tough. One thing that I've noted, particularly these past few years, you know very well, and our listeners do know very well, that African athletes, they have tended to dominate in long track events. That is, anything 800 meters, 1500 meters, 5,000, 10,000 meters. That's where they are the strongest. The 3,000 meters steeplechase and the marathons, they dominate on that. But the athletes in other countries, Europe and somewhere else, Asia, the USA, they are really coming up strong. They've improved their standard. I think it's because they now have a lot of athletics championships in between, the European championships. They've got like a well-coordinated league. They've got funding. And there's been a lot of improvement such that some African runners, they are really finding it very hard to dominate in long track events. So it's very tough. So this is a challenge that, people like the president of the Confederation of African Athletics should do something to encourage African athletics federations to actually take care of their athletes and see that there is a really, really significant development in this particular regard. Then otherwise, African athletes will always remain at the top.
Gesham Sergignati, our legendary correspondent all the way from the United Kingdom, talking to us about a variety of athletics events, the Diamond League and the upcoming World Championships taking place in Tokyo, Japan in a few weeks' time. Sergi, thank you so much for talking to us on Africa at Play. Have a great afternoon further.
Yes, just before I go, if I can just say something very briefly about the Sydney Marathon in Australia, which took place today. A runner from Lesotho, Tebelo Ramohonana, ran a time of 2 hours, 6 minutes and 47 seconds. He finished third overall. And this runner has become one of the fastest runner in the Southern Africa region. He did very well, finishing third from Lesotho, Tebelo Ramohonana. And the winner in this particular event was an Ethiopian, Haile Mariam Kiros Kebedu, in 2 hours, 6 minutes and 6 seconds, followed by his compatriot Kobeno Adisu, who was just 10 seconds behind. And in the women's section, Sifani Asali of the Netherlands has done it again. She won the women's marathon in a time of 2 hours, 18 minutes, 22 seconds, beating the former world record holder Bridget Kosgei of Kenya, who came second. Wakaneshi Kumesa of Ethiopia finished third. So, good performances by the African athletes at the Sydney Marathon, which has become one of the major marathons in the world. It's a new edition of the leading marathons, such as the London Marathon, Boston, Tokyo, and the like.
That's how we wrap up our conversation with Gordon Geshom Nyati. Apologies about that. Our correspondent based in the United Kingdom, and we are also wrapping up the proceedings on Africa at Play. We will be back next week, Saturday and Sunday, from 2 to 5 p.m. Central African Time. Thank you to Tumisilema, our social media guru, and the audiovisual streaming team, together with Catherine Chuchu TV Maleka, our technical operator. Not forgetting my producer, Andisiwe Fakimalu Zobona Mali, and from the rest of the Africa at Play team, thank you for listening. My name is Neto, Neto Chemane. Hosiati konyangazi mumkhatshwa phandle kunjani moyani. Vogo tendele. Eshlamo juntos. We are together. Ciao.